Chapter 5:13. You must be wondering why, with the strength of your soul and the power of your mental strength, you couldn't even react to my sword qi. Naga's cold and steady voice resounded in Xiaofan's mind. You must be extremely unwilling, right? My first sword, you could easily dodge it, but my second sword, you couldn't defend against it. As an opponent who could force me to use my second sword, the great psychedelic heart devil sword, then I don't mind telling you the profoundness of my second sword, not just you. In the secular world, almost any mortal would find it hard to dodge my second sword. At this moment, Naga's tone was completely uplifted, filled with a sense of contentment, as if he was a king, a general, and a ruler in control of the spring and autumn. Because, as long as one is in the secular world, no matter how strong one's true qi cultivation is, no matter how perfect one's soul is, it is inevitable that a heart devil will be born. Even if one is at the 10th level of true qi, or at the immortal vision realm, those old antiques will definitely have a heart devil. Heart devils are a mysterious existence. As long as there is a self, there will definitely be a heart devil. However, those with weak hearts have a higher chance of triggering a heart devil. For those with a strong heart, the cracks and flaws in their hearts are well hidden, making it difficult to trigger a heart devil. But no matter how strong one's heart is, it is impossible to completely erase the heart devil. Legend has it that only those who successfully condense an immortal body and become an immortal can truly erase the heart devil. This causes the heart to be crystal clear and untraceable. However, in my opinion, do immortals really not have a heart devil? I'm afraid not. Of course, if one can cultivate to the immortal emperor realm and surpass all living beings in the universe, then they can completely vanquish the heart devil, and be eternally free, indestructible by 10,000 tribulations. Kid, although your soul is strong, you are still immortal. Therefore, you must have a heart devil. As long as you have a heart devil, you will not be able to dodge this sword. This is the law. My second sword is the heart devil sword. The essence of this sword is to cause the opponent's inner demons to be born as soon as the sword is unleashed. The power of this sword far surpasses my first sword. This sword can allow me to easily kill people above my level. Naga's voice resounded in Xiaofan's mind. So this is the sword of the heart's devil. As long as one is immortal, he or she will have a heart's devil. Therefore, no matter how fast my soul's reaction is, no matter how fast my movement speed is, I will not be able to dodge this sword. Because I am a human, I must have a heart's devil. Indeed, the power of this sword is 10 times, 100 times, or even 1,000 times stronger than the first sword. No matter how strong one's cultivation is, as long as one's inner demons are stirred up, one will go berserk. Gradually, illusions began to appear in Xiaofan's mind. Layers of inner demons began to appear. Xiaofan's body didn't move at all. His expression became one of great difficulty. This move of mine, the great psychedelic heart devil sword, was imparted to me by a strange person. It is said to be an immortal's sword technique. The first sword strike just now was only the pinnacle of sword techniques in the mortal world. It might not be able to kill you, but against this immortal sword technique, you will undoubtedly die. However, to be able to die under this immortal sword, it can be considered complete. You will not have any regrets in your life. Naga was completely giving pointers. To be honest, this move of mine, the great psychedelic heart devil sword, is also a type of soul attack. However, this soul attack technique is many times stronger than that Aunt Jida's soul sword qi. This sword isn't directly attacking your soul. Instead, it's triggering your heart's devil, blinding your eyes, ears, mouth, nose, tongue, and body. It's causing you to doubt yourself, creating illusions, and wanting to kill yourself. Strictly speaking, the stronger your soul is, the more powerful your battle prowess is, and the deeper your heart's devil is hidden. But once it's triggered, it's even more powerful and difficult to kill. If I directly attack your soul, I might not be able to kill you, because my soul power is still inferior to yours. However, if I trigger your inner demons, it will be difficult for you to resist. Right now, your sea of consciousness must be extremely chaotic. Yes, now, when Xiaofan looked within himself, he discovered that the sword qi that Naga used to cut into his brain had already successfully triggered the numerous inner demons. The entire mental power planet was filled with densely packed Nagas. These Nagas were all created by Xiaofan's inner demons. There were thousands, tens of thousands, and more, hundreds of thousands, millions. Countless Nagas began to burden Xiaofan's mental power planet. Xiaofan's soul began to expand, and his perception of the outside world became more and more blurry. Kill. 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 Countless Nagas in Xiaofan's soul let out a thunderous roar, their murderous aura filling the heavens and earth. The current situation was that Naga had voluntarily admitted that his soul's mental power was not as strong as Xiaofan's. If he followed Kid's example and forcefully killed Xiaofan's soul, then he would very likely suffer a backlash and end up worse off. However, Naga was more than 1,000 times stronger than Kid. He had mastered the swordsmanship of the ancient martial arts, and could control the inner demons like drinking water and eating rice. With a sword of inner demons, he forcefully triggered the inner demons deep within Xiaofan's heart. Now, if Xiaofan wanted to balance the situation, he had to first kill the inner demons in his sea of consciousness. Even Xiaofan himself did not know that his face had become extremely hideous and terrifying. Every pore on his body was spewing out chaotic true energy. The chaotic true energy waves stirred up circles of ripples around Xiaofan's body. Xiaofan subconsciously took a step forward, his expression as if he was blind. At this moment, all the chivalrous heroes who were watching the battle could see that something was wrong. The second sword. Although Naga's second sword is formless and without a trace of murderous aura, it seems to have directly restrained that kid. It's very obvious. Naga had perfectly pinned down the kid, firmly holding him in place. That kid looks like he's having a hard time now. The true energy in his body is chaotic, and it feels like he's about to self-destruct. Too powerful. Naga is really too powerful. This kid's body is invincible, and his soul is equally invincible. But Naga easily defeated him. What's so special about Naga's second sword? Junior Xiaofan. Oh no. Little brother Xiaofan is at a disadvantage. This Naga's methods are endless. It's too strange. Master is brave and invincible. He shouldn't have lost so inexplicably. That Naga must have used some despicable tricks to trick his master. Despicable. Shameless beyond belief. Now, everyone in Xiaofan's camp felt their hearts sink to the bottom. In their respective wooden houses, they let out heart-wrenching screams. From the light screen, Xiaofan was indeed at a disadvantage, and the situation was getting worse. On the other hand, Naga was becoming more and more confident. He displayed the demeanor of a peerless expert. On the arena. At this moment, Xiaofan discovered that his soul had been completely blinded by the inner demons. Moreover, his mental power star had also been compressed. What was even more frightening was that these inner demons had begun to surge into his heart like a tide. They were trying to pull out the demon egg within his heart, and pull out the demon god's soul within the demon egg. Amazing. Too amazing. This inner demon swordsmanship is indeed all-pervasive. But, up until now, I have not completely become a demon. Luckily, I cultivated the extinguishing skies and earth mental technique. Suddenly, the mental power star in his sea of consciousness exploded with a magnificent light. These inner demons are actually like the hallucinatory demonic realm, but much more powerful than the hallucinatory demonic realm. My extinguishing skies and earth mental technique can refine the hallucinatory demonic realm, so it can similarly refine these inner demons. If I did not cultivate the extinguishing skies and earth mental technique, then right now, I would have self-detonated and died. And refine them. Boom! Xiaofan's mind still retained its clarity. He immediately visualized the various gestures of the extinguishing skies and earth mental technique. This caused the inner demons that filled his soul sea of consciousness to be slowly burned and refined. The inner demons that were refined actually became nourishment for Xiaofan's mental power. This caused Xiaofan's mental power to begin to grow in the face of adversity. Those inner demons that had invaded Xiaofan's heart and attempted to trigger the demon god's soul were also quickly suppressed by Xiaofan. However, these inner demons are too strong. If I want to refine them, I need some time. I can't refine them cleanly. Then I'll beat them at their own game. In a flash, Xiaofan already had a countermeasure. Roar! Roar! Xiaofan purposely let out a heart-wrenching scream, as if he had suffered a serious injury. But in the dark, Xiaofan began to gather strength. Like a drunkard, Xiaofan began to sway on the stage as he staggered back and forth. Naga only sneered at Xiaofan. After a few breaths, this is the moment. Suddenly, Xiaofan had already gathered his physical strength to the extreme. Without any warning, he suddenly punched towards Naga. This punch was the culmination of Xiaofan's physical strength. It directly shattered the space, forming a vortex of power. Within it lay a terrifying power that even immortals would have to retreat. Moreover, Xiaofan first pretended to be weak, then suddenly attacked. It was like a sneak attack. If Naga were to be hit by this punch, it would definitely shatter every inch of his flesh, bones, and muscles, turning him into ashes. Huh! The proud expression on Naga's face suddenly froze. His body moved slightly, wanting to dodge. However, the timing of Xiaofan's punch was just too perfect. Coupled with the fact that it was a sneak attack, Naga actually couldn't dodge it. Bang! The punch landed on Naga's body. I hit him. Xiaofan was delighted. However, at this moment, Xiaofan only felt his body shake violently. His entire body was sent flying by a huge force. Pfft! A mouthful of blood spurted out from Xiaofan's mouth. As expected, you are very tenacious. I really didn't expect that the endless demons in your heart didn't destroy you at the first moment. Instead, you seized the opportunity to launch a sneak attack. Naga's sinister laughter sounded again. However, as long as there is a bit of demons in your mind, you can't hit me. Just now, you hit yourself. Ha 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 ha. In the light screen, all the chivalrous heroes who were watching the battle saw a very strange scene. On the arena, Xiaofan, in extreme pain and in an extremely unbearable situation, suddenly stood up and attacked Naga, throwing a punch. However, just as he was about to hit Naga, Xiaofan suddenly turned his fist around and punched his own body. He sent himself flying. He hit himself until he vomited blood. All the chivalrous heroes watching the battle did not understand what was going on. To be continued. Chapter 514. Xiaofan was sent flying by his own strength. Now, all the bones in his body were on the verge of breaking. That heavy punch just now had been charged up for a long time. He originally wanted to smash Naga into pieces, but it landed on his own body instead, causing Xiaofan to suffer greatly. If it wasn't for the fact that Xiaofan's flesh shell had an extremely strong defense, he would have blown himself up just now. Phew! Xiaofan half-squatted on the ground, countless thoughts churning in his mind. Damn it, although I'm refining the inner demons in my sea of consciousness bit by bit, as long as I don't completely refine them, I won't be able to defeat Naga. As long as there's a strand of inner demons left, Naga is invincible. Ha 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 kid, I'm standing right here, not moving an inch. I'll let you kill me. Ha ha ha. Come, gather all your strength and attack me. I'll let you hit me. Let's see if you can beat me to death, beat me up, ha 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 ha. Naga let out a mocking laugh. Of course, Xiaofan could not attack Naga anymore. If he did not get rid of the inner demons, attacking Naga would be equivalent to attacking himself. Hey, Xiaofan stopped moving. In his mind, he was speeding up the process of visualizing the extinguishing heavens and destroying Earth's spiritual technique, frantically refining the inner demons in his brain. After the strands of inner demons were refined, they became nourishment for Xiaofan's mind power planet. It was very nourishing. Because I've cultivated the extinguishing heavens and destroying Earth's spiritual technique, it's impossible for me to become a demon. Even if there are endless inner demons in my sea of consciousness, I can slowly refine them. Instead, it will strengthen my spiritual planet. I'm only missing the last gesture to break through to the 21st spiritual finger technique. Furthermore, this hand gesture requires an enormous amount of psychic power. I need to obtain even more psychic power before I can successfully break through and solidify my psychic power. Right now, these inner demons are the spiritual nutrients I need. However, to completely refine these inner demons, I'll need some time. Xiaofan was a little anxious. He could not wait to immediately refine all the inner demons in his sea of consciousness. But there was no other way. He had to refine them step by step, bit by bit. On the stage, the situation became strange. Xiaofan was half squatting with his head lowered. He did not move at all. Naga stood on the other side of the ring with his hands behind his back, looking at Xiaofan indifferently. Both sides of the battle had actually stopped fighting. What's going on? Why is there a stalemate? That kid is already showing signs of defeat. Naga should be chasing after him. How strange. However, the Nagas were undefeatable. That was for sure. That's right, the Nagas must be playing a cat and mouse game. Before I kill that brat, I'll play with him. Countless chivalrous Taoists watching the battle could not help but have some doubts. In the arena, time ticked by. After a few hundred breaths, Naga's expression finally darkened. Oh. The great hallucinatory heart devil sword chi planted in your sea of consciousness is weakening bit by bit. The expression on Naga's face was one of enlightenment. What a weirdo. Not only could he refine Jida's soul sword chi, he could even refine his own heart devil sword chi. Within your soul, there is a devouring power like a black hole in the universe. Originally, I did not intend to make a move. I wanted to watch you get devoured by your heart devil sword chi bit by bit and finally destroy yourself. But you do have some ability to actually refine the heart devil sword chi. Then, I have no choice but to make a move and destroy you. At this moment, Naga's heart was also in a frenzy, violently shocked. Naga's great hallucinatory heart devil sword chi was not easy to refine. It was a supreme sword chi condensed from his life sword chi, essence, spirit, and his own heart devil. It grew in his body. This sword chi was not easy to obtain. After slashing out, his body would be empty and would not automatically regenerate. Every time he used this sword chi, after killing his opponent, he had to retract it back into his body. But now, Naga felt that this great hallucinatory heart devil sword chi that he had spent 1,000 years to refine was actually being refined bit by Xiaofan. This sword chi was constantly weakening. Moreover, when Naga wanted to forcefully retract this sword chi into his body, he felt that this sword chi was wrapped around by Xiaofan's soul. This made it impossible for Naga to retract it. If this sword chi was completely refined by Xiaofan, it would be the same as wasting Naga's 1,000 years of hard work. Naga would have to go into seclusion for another 1,000 years before he could refine a similar, great hallucinatory heart devil sword chi. Before this son of a bitch completely refines my, great hallucinatory heart devil sword chi, I must kill him. This sword chi has been extremely difficult for me to refine until now. I was originally prepared to use it to conquer the world and deal with those Tower Master level antiques. I must not waste it on him. Naga was furious. His body flashed, and a blood-red sword chi was produced like a waterfall, directly blasting towards Xiaofan. Naga's sword was sharp and highly condensed. Puchi puchi, the sword chi crazily swallowed the space around it. Within the sword chi was a boundless murderous aura, and within this overbearing murderous aura, there was also the aura of catastrophe. There was a power that could split the heavens and split the earth, sweeping through the sun, moon, and the universe. Everything in Naga's way would be crushed into powder by this blood-red sword chi. Moreover, the speed of this sword was also extremely fast. It had reached the level of sword chi teleportation. In fact, this sword was Naga's first sword. Swift sword. Xiaofan's pupils constricted. He absolutely could not allow this sword to slash his body. The speed of Naga's sword was hundreds of times faster than the speed of light. With such a terrifying speed, even water could pierce through iron and stone. No matter how strong Xiaofan's physical strength was, it was impossible for him to withstand such a fast sword aura. Once the sword aura touched his body, he would be killed and his body would explode. More dead than dead. Damn it. This son of a bitch, he doesn't intend to give me any more time to refine these inner demons. Xiaofan cursed in his heart. Just as Naga's sword chi was about to hit Xiaofan's body directly moved. Bang! The sword chi that could destroy everything exploded in the direction of Xiaofan's body. Space collapsed, evaporated, and was obliterated. Xiaofan had dodged this sword in a 10,000th of a breath's time. He almost died. In fact, the speed of Naga's sword was no different from the first sword he had used to kill Xiaofan. Previously, when Xiaofan had dodged this sword, he had been very calm. His body moved nimbly, as if he was taking a leisurely stroll, and he had dodged it. It made people believe that Naga's killer god's single stroke was unable to truly hit Xiaofan. And now, it was extremely difficult for Xiaofan to dodge this sword again. He had almost failed to dodge it. It was the same sword, but the difficulty of dodging was very different. There was no other reason. When he first dodged this sword, Xiaofan's mind was completely focused. His mind, qi, and spirit were highly concentrated, and his mental energy star was not overloaded. But now, in Xiaofan's mind, there was still a large number of inner demons that had not been completely refined. It affected the operation of his mental energy star, and also affected his thinking and reaction speed. Kid. I've played enough. Die. There are still a large number of inner demons in your mind, causing you to be unable to dodge my sword chi as usual. Just now, you almost turned into ashes. Humph. You were able to force me to this point, causing me to be slightly flustered. This is something I never expected. But, you still can't escape the misfortune of being killed by me. And, after I kill you, I will go to your plane and kill all the living beings in your plane. At this time, Naga was actually a little angry from embarrassment. Before meeting Xiaofan, Naga had never been in such a difficult situation in his entire life. Die. Boom! Naga once again slashed at Xiaofan. At this time, all the spectators noticed the change in Naga's emotions, and noticed that he had lost his composure. What's going on? The invincible Naga actually showed a flustered and exasperated look. That kid, in such a dangerous situation, actually forced Naga to this extent? Unbelievable. Too tenacious. That kid is simply indomitable. It's really impressive. At this point, he is still resisting. From the beginning of the battle with Naga, he has never surrendered. But, he is in danger now, and his life is hanging by a thread. His reaction and dodging speed is many times slower than before. In the arena. Pooh. 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 Naga continuously slashed out blood-colored sword chi, causing Xiaofan to retreat step by step. Several times, Xiaofan was just a hair's breadth away from death. It's useless. I want to see how many more times you can dodge. Naga roared ferociously. At this time, damn it! I won't refine these inner demons anymore. At this time, Xiaofan's eyes widened in anger. Suddenly, boom! An invincible sword chi burst out from Xiaofan's body. The great accomplishment stage natal saber chi that had been hiding in Xiaofan's mental power planet was finally released by Xiaofan. Xiaofan's aura began to rise. The terrifying and boundless sword chi swept across the sky. The dazzling saber light instantly pierced through the sky and the arena. The saber intent was like a god, the saber could split the Milky Way. The magnificent saber light, flawless, burst out from Xiaofan's body like fireworks. In the depths of each saber light, there was an eternal Milky Way. At this moment, Xiaofan's aura changed greatly. His entire being became domineering. Although his body was as still as a mountain, his eyes were like a king's. With a slight movement of his body, it was as if he could split the sky and cut through all things. Xiaofan's sword chi was revealed to its fullest. That was a king's descent, a king's peerless, tyrannical, and supreme sword chi. At this time, Xiaofan seemed to have no one in his eyes. All of his enemies were nothing in his eyes. The sword chi was the same as the sword chi. It could cut through the void and slay inner demons. Once Xiaofan's sword chi appeared, all the inner demons in his sea of consciousness were wiped clean. This caused Xiaofan's mental power star to once again return to its flawless state. The reason why Xiaofan had been enduring and did not use his sword chi was because he wanted to refine these inner demons and nourish and strengthen his mental power. He wanted to accumulate the foundation for breaking through to the 21st spirit finger technique. Once he used his sword chi, these inner demons would vanish. To Xiaofan, this was a waste of resources. But now, Naga's repeated coercion had finally angered Xiaofan. These inner demons, I'll kill them first. Naga, our battle has just begun. Xiaofan's eyes were filled with an invincible sword light as he roared. At this moment, Naga's mind was shaken. His face finally revealed a look of horror as he blurted out. Sword cultivator. So you're a sword cultivator. You've hidden yourself well. Heavens! That brat had finally revealed his final trump card. He's a supreme sword cultivator. This sword chi is not inferior to Naga's sword chi at all. Too powerful. He's hidden to the last moment, and now he's using his strongest trump card. All the chivalrous heroes watching the battle let out heart-wrenching screams. To be continued. Chapter 5:15. On the arena. Xiaofan had finally used his strongest trump card. He released the violent blade will of the unparalleled evil dragon. A terrifying aura radiated out with Xiaofan at the center, suppressing everything. At this moment, Xiaofan was like a saber god walking in the mortal world, carrying the will of the emperor of the saber world. His aura was rarely seen, and his strong confidence was burning. It seemed like no one in the mortal world was a match for Xiaofan. His confidence of winning was unleashed in the form of saber intent, shocking the world and causing the sky to change color and the earth to sink. At this moment, Naga's aura was completely suppressed and began to plummet. The blood-red sword chi on the arena began to distort, wail, and shatter. Naga, who was high and mighty just now, was now like a king who had fallen from his throne and was reduced to a beggar. His chestnut-colored hair was disheveled in the strong wind, adding a sense of desolation and awkwardness to his appearance. Gugugu, you hid so deeply. You really have a heart full of danger and a mind full of shrewdness. I was wrong about you from the beginning. Big mistake. Kid, you've been pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Naga glared at Xiaofan, gritting his teeth, full of endless regret, resentment, and curses. Xiaofan looked at Naga indifferently. As his mind turned, the blade will became stronger and stronger, completely suppressing Naga. Under the influence of the chi, Naga would immediately be crushed by the supreme blade will if he made any movements. At this point, Xiaofan had completed the reversal of the desperate situation. Naga's first sword was a fast sword, the second sword was the heart demon sword. Seriously speaking, whether it was Naga's first sword or second sword, Xiaofan could block them all. He could even deal with Naga's heart demon sword alone. He could also refine the heart demon, nourish the soul, and obtain benefits. But when Naga's first and second sword complemented each other, Xiaofan could only use his strongest trump card, the blade will. The battle up to this point could be said to be full of ups and downs, full of twists and turns. All the chivalrous men who stayed in the giant hall to watch the battle were now amazed and exclaimed in amazement, "It's too classic. This pinnacle showdown was too classic. It caused one's heart to tremble, and also caused one's blood to boil. That kid was too strong." So, his true identity was a sword cultivator who had gained enlightenment. His natal sword will was slightly stronger than Naga's sword will, in the previous matches. He's always been hiding his trump card, always pretending, using his powerful body and soul power to confuse everyone's eyes, causing Naga to look down on him, but his true battle strength is even stronger than Naga's. That brat's mental fortitude is really too tyrannical. He had always been in a disadvantageous situation, and was practically being pressured by Nar. If it was anyone else, they would have long since revealed their trump cards, but he had been enduring until the most crucial moment. He turned the tables and knocked Naga down from the peak to the bottom of the cliff. I always thought that Naga was the strongest. Wrong, really wrong. It turns out that the kid is the strongest. A peerless demon with 3 major cultivation bases: body refinement, soul, and sword. Powerful body refinement, unparalleled soul, and invincible sword. Freak. I can only use freak to describe him. Naga lost. The invincible Naga, the proud Naga, the godlike Naga is going to die in this arena, and become a stepping stone for that kid's strong rise. Xiao Mingchu, Luo Tianyu, and the others in Xiaofan's camp were shaken to the core by this unpredictable and unexpected turn of events. There were many times when Xiaofan was on the verge of death and was about to be killed by Naga. But at the last moment, Xiaofan actually used a crushing advantage to regain control of the battle. I didn't think that junior brother Xiaofan's sword would advance to such a shocking level. Xiao Mingchu was shocked. But very quickly, Xiao Mingchu slapped his forehead. I should have thought of it. I should have thought of it. Since junior brother Xiaofan's soul and mental strength have improved greatly, then his sword and sword intent will definitely rise as well. On the arena. I must get the purple celestial key. Xiaofan's eyes were unwavering, but he calmly looked at Naga. Between the two of us, one of us will fall on this stage forever. He. Suddenly, a strange sound came from Naga's throat. His frightened and unwilling expression suddenly disappeared, and what replaced it was a kind of calmness. A strange kind of calmness. It was very strange. After Xiaofan turned defeat into victory, Naga actually reorganized his emotions and instantly calmed down. Oh. Xiaofan was slightly startled. Inexplicably, a faint ominous feeling welled up in his heart. Great accomplishment, saber intent, the peak of a secular bladesman. Great accomplishment, saber intent, your mental strength is extremely strong, causing the saber chi in your sea of consciousness to be pure and untainted, almost reaching perfection. Kid, I have to say that your attainments in saber intent are slightly above my sword intent. Naga's voice had also calmed down, but it was still very cold. You are too strong. In the secular world, you are indeed too strong. In the vast universe, in the endless ordinary planes, no one under 10,000 years old can be your opponent. In fact, you can even defeat most of the Tower Master level antiques. I can see from your life force that your true age is less than 100 years old. Heh. To be able to cultivate to this level before 100 years old, it seems that you have had some heaven-defying fortuitous encounters and opportunities, but... At this point, the aura on Naga's body quietly changed. Strands of holy light started to shine out from every pore on Naga's body. The declining aura on Naga's body was washed away by the holy light, causing him to reveal a kind of agile and elegant aura. I, Naga, have also had heaven-defying fortuitous encounters. Naga took a deep breath, no longer looking at Xiaofan, but at the sky. Kid, to be able to force me, Naga, to use my true trump card. You should be proud. As Naga spoke, the aura on his body became more and more extraordinary. With a slight movement of his body, the wind and clouds in all directions of the arena began to surge, and the heavens and earth were filled with thunder and lightning. The white tiger, cloud dragon, vermilion bird, and black tortoise all appeared, thousands of thick beams of holy light appearing around them. Not only had Naga's aura changed, but even the environment and atmosphere of the arena had undergone a huge change. My strongest trump card. A trump card that I have never used in battle before. The corner of Naga's mouth curled up, revealing an evil and mysterious smile. His voice began to whisper. This is not a trump card that belongs to the secular world. The situation of the battle took a sudden turn for the worse. This caused the chivalrous heroes, who had started to look favorably on Xiaofan, to be dumbfounded. What's going on? The battle has taken a turn again? Too absurd. It's like a dream. Naga's aura. A sudden change. I can't see the specific change, but I can feel that Naga suddenly has a sense of transcendence. Last trump card? Naga actually has a trump card. Heavens! These two perverts, each using their trump cards one after another, it's overwhelming. This is too dramatic. That kid, when he was about to be killed by Naga, used his supreme sword will as his trump card. He suppressed the Nagas, but before the Nagas collapsed, he suddenly revealed a powerful trump card. What is Naga's trump card? What is Naga's trump card? All the chivalrous heroes who were watching the battle were confused. What was Naga's last trump card? However, Xiaofan, who was standing on the stage, felt that something was amiss. Immortal intent. There's a faint trace of immortal intent coming from Naga's body. And this immortal intent is getting stronger and stronger. Rising steadily. As if it can't be stopped. Xiaofan's heart involuntarily tightened a little. Xiaofan knew that his perception of Immortal was unparalleled among all the mortals in the world of mortals. The so-called Tower Master level had opened the heaven's eye and could see the faint, immortal chi drifting between heaven and earth. This could be considered as having a certain understanding of Immortal. However, in Xiaofan's heart, there were countless seals left behind by immortals. Within each seal, there was some will of immortals. Furthermore, within the 10,000 immortal grand formation outside of Xiaofan's heart, there was real immortal chi flowing. This caused Xiaofan's perception of Immortal to absolutely surpass any Tower Master level and any half-immortal body. Therefore, Xiaofan could now confirm that Naga's body was constantly emitting immortal intent, and it was rising steadily. This Naga's last trump card must have something to do with Immortal. Xiaofan muttered to himself. Kid, my strongest trump card can definitely crush any of your trump cards. It's over. Everything is over. Suddenly, Naga bent his right elbow and grabbed the hilt of the sword on his shoulder. At this moment, Naga's body exploded with fierce immortal chi. Pfft! All the holy light on his body condensed into one point and rushed upwards. Above Naga's head, a misty world was formed. In this misty world, there was a source energy that was thousands of times stronger than that of the mortal world. Naga's back was as straight as a sword, piercing through the sky. His body emitted all sorts of gorgeous divine light, shining brilliantly with the misty world that appeared above his head. His right hand had already grasped the hilt of the sword tightly, ready to draw it. At this moment, Naga's aura had accumulated to its peak. An immortal wind blew past. His sleeves fluttered in the wind, releasing fluttering sounds. His face was radiant, his face like jade. Within his eyes, a magnificent and majestic phantom of a heavenly palace appeared. "Kid, die." Naga looked coldly and arrogantly at Xiaofan. Chapter 5:16 Immortal Realm. When Naga used his final trump card, and a misty high-level world appeared above his head, Xiaofan finally came to his senses. Xiaofan clearly felt that in that misty high-level world, there was an immortal's will. Xiaofan had a deep understanding of immortal's will, because in his heart, the talisman that sealed the demon god egg was also filled with immortal's will. Therefore, Xiaofan immediately knew that Naga's so-called final trump card, his strongest trump card, was to use his own will, through a special and profound method, to connect to a corner of the immortal realm, and receive a strand of immortal's will. Boom! Suddenly, in the misty high-level world above Naga's head, streams of light flowed down, and streams of high-level energy flowed into Naga's sea of consciousness, as well as every pore and cell in his body. This caused Naga's aura to be filled with an immortal's charm, extraordinary, and almost invincible. In the next moment, King Naga finally pulled out the long sword on his back. The blade was like autumn water. A majestic sword aura burst out from the blade. This sword aura, compared to the sword aura that Naga had just displayed, was even more powerful and mysterious. It had the power to uproot mountains and rivers, to dominate 10,000 worlds, and an unparalleled aura. It was as if a heavenly immortal had descended, or an immortal king had descended. The current Naga, compared to a moment ago, was like a completely different person. At the same time, in the immortal realm above Naga's head, there was a dense and real immortal energy. It rolled and wriggled crazily. The concept of immortal. It was even more intense, ready to gush out. In the end, from the wriggling immortal realm, a primordial immortal's breath rose up, and a silhouette of a sword immortal with a sword on his back, reading a book under the bright moon, was gradually born. Pooh! Pooh! The sword aura traversed tens of thousands of miles. In the arena, Xiaofan's blade aura was completely shattered. In that instant, Naga's body was imbued with the aura of a sword immortal, and it fiercely suppressed Xiaofan's blade aura. Pooh! Xiaofan's soul shook violently. The snake-like saber aura returned from all directions of the arena and returned to Xiaofan's mental power star. It wasn't that Xiaofan wanted to retract the blade chi, but he had no choice. The blade chi was forced back by Naga's sword aura. It was as if his chi and blood were flowing in reverse. Xiaofan's mind shook violently, and his entire body trembled. It was as if he had been struck by a steel hammer, causing Xiaofan to be sent flying backwards, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Bang! Xiaofan fell to the ground dozens of feet away. He can actually communicate with the immortal realm. Xiaofan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and slowly got up, his eyes staring unblinkingly at Naga. The first level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove is the Genius Zone. Immortals aren't allowed to enter, but Naga can communicate with the immortal world here and receive some immortal wills. Above Naga's head, countless strands of immortal energy, immortal charm, and immortal sword chi fell from the void and fused into Naga's body. It gave Naga a feeling of defying the heavens and usurping fate. Ant. Truly an ant. Naga looked at Xiaofan with a compassionate gaze. That gaze was purely that of a supreme immortal looking down on mortals. You have blasphemed my dignity, you must die. However, at this moment, Xiaofan discovered some clues. Xiaofan got up from the ground and frowned slightly. Naga, at this moment, the countless chivalrous heroes who were watching the battle went crazy. They all saw what had happened to Naga's body, immortal realm. What appeared above Naga's head must be the immortal realm. Unbelievable. Naga's will could actually receive the will of a sword immortal from the immortal realm. This caused the glory of the immortal realm to flow onto Naga's body. Now, Naga practically had an immortal body. A sword immortal body. No wonder, there are rumors that Naga obtained the inheritance of a sword immortal. That's why he was invincible in the mortal world. Looks like the rumors are true. This is Naga's shocking secret, receiving the will of an immortal. I think Naga definitely did not want to reveal this secret so easily, but this time he was forced into a dead end by that kid. He had no choice but to receive the will of an immortal. But now, it seems that Naga will definitely win. There was no longer any suspense on this point. With the blessing of an immortal's will, killing a mortal is no different from stepping on an ant. Naga is really blessed to actually have an immortal fate. No opportunity in the mortal world can compare to Naga's immortal fate. But that kid was defeated by the hands of an immortal fate, so there's nothing to say. Xiao Mingchu, Luo Tianyu, and the others saw this turn of events and their vision darkened. They were so shocked that they directly fainted, on the arena. "Ant, you are about to be obliterated by me. What else do you have to say?" Naga looked at Xiaofan with a gaze of pity. "I allow you to speak. If you have any last words, you can say them now. But it won't change your fate of death. It also won't change my intention to exterminate all living things in your plane after I leave the genius zone. How pitiful, little ant, do you still want to struggle?" At this moment, Xiaohan's expression did not change. "Naga, you were able to connect to the immortal plane and receive the will of an immortal. You are indeed blessed with an immortal fate. And your body has also temporarily been transformed by the energy of the immortal world. Your aura and battle strength are probably not inferior to those half-immortal tower masters. However, with your mortal body, it seems that you are still unable to perfectly control the energy of the immortal world, right? Am I right?" "Yes." Xiaohan indeed discovered that there was a sense of disharmony between Naga and the immortal energy that was flowing on his body. It was as if he was not perfectly absorbing and compatible with this immortal energy. Although Naga unsheathed his sword and received the immortal chi, it was like an ordinary long sword. It gave birth to the sharpness of a sword immortal. But Xiaohan still felt that Naga was not able to execute a perfect slash with his sword. It seemed that his aura alone had the charm of an immortal. Naga's eyes turned slightly cold. Xiaohan was right. Naga's body was still too weak. It was unable to receive the will and energy of an immortal. Although he had used some immortal pills to refine his body, he still had not reached the stage where he could perfectly receive the energy of the immortal world. Right now, he had only changed his aura, causing his aura and every movement to have the embryonic form of a sword immortal. Right now, all he had done was change his aura, so that his aura and his every move had the embryonic form of a sword immortal. Naga did not expect that Xiaohan's observation skills were so detailed. Naga didn't expect Xiaohan's observation skills to be so precise. This was because of Xiaohan's understanding and experience of the immortal. In the entire mortal world, there was almost no one who could match him. That was why he could see it. "Kid, it seems that your understanding of the immortal is very deep. Someone like you is someone who has the quality of becoming an immortal." Naga suddenly let out a cold laugh. "People like you are the so-called immortal quality." Naga suddenly let out a cold laugh. "Yes, it's true that I'm unable to slash out a celestial sword to its fullest. However, it's extremely easy for me to crush an ant like you, ants. Accept the punishment of the immortals." Suddenly, Naga gently shook the long sword in his hand. He did not use his full strength, as if he was carefully releasing a trace of sword energy. Xiao, a wisp of sword chi was released by Naga. Like a ghost, it flashed towards Xiaohan. This wisp of sword chi didn't seem sharp at all. It didn't have the power to kill, but it emitted a decadent sound. The light of dusk seemed to contain the music notes condensed from the comprehension of the heaven and earth by a supreme sword immortal. A godlike aura, like that of a great overarching golden immortal, was also mixed in it. Roar! Xiaohan let out a low roar, and the strength of his entire body surged. His body tore through space, and he was about to flee. However, his movements were still a step too slow. Just as he moved, that wisp of sword qi had already seeped into Xiaofan's brain. Mortal, do not struggle in vain. You will never escape the punishment of the immortals. Right now, Naga's face was full of exhaustion. After the wisp of ethereal celestial sword energy shot into Xiaofan's head, his celestial aura began to weaken bit by bit. The celestial world above his head also began to close. His aura returned to the realm of immortal. It was as if he had used up all of his energy just now to activate that tiny bit of immortal sword qi. Indeed, with my current body, realm, and soul strength, I can't slash out an invincible sword qi, and I can't connect to the immortal realm for a long time. However, it's not a problem to deal with an insignificant ant like you. That wisp of sword qi just now was a wisp of the sword immortal's will. It transformed into a sound wave. Within that sound wave, there is a trace of the original meaning of the great Tao. When it seeps into the brain of any mortal, it will leave behind an immortal's mark. They will involuntarily accept the punishment of the immortals, and their souls will be unable to extricate themselves, unable to resist. In the end, their souls will be refined, completely shattered, and turned into ashes. Kid, you also have a heaven-defying luck and opportunity. Your soul and mental strength are strong enough, and you can even refine my heart devil sword qi. However, against this wisp of immortal's will, you have no chance of survival. No matter how strong your soul is, you can't resist the immortal's will. Immortal's mark. Immortal's punishment. Die. Naga let out a sinister laugh. However, very quickly, he also sat down cross-legged and began to adjust his essence qi that had fallen to the bottom of the valley. He no longer cared about Xiaofan, as if Xiaofan was already a dead man. And at this moment, boom, after that wisp of immortals will seeped into Xiaofan's brain, it immediately transformed into a mysterious and vigorous energy. A mark was directly engraved into Xiaofan's soul, causing Xiaofan's soul to explode. This wisp of immortals will emitted a boundless holy aura, shocking the ancient times. Impressively, it condensed into a golden mark and directly refined into Xiaofan's spiritual star, suppressing Xiaofan's spiritual star. Refine. It was as if it wanted to forcefully refine Xiaofan's spiritual star. Motherf *****. Immortal's will? You want to forcefully eat me, Xiaofan? Xiaofan was burning with anger, but he did not lose his composure. In an instant, Xiaofan also sat down cross-legged. Both of his hands formed all kinds of hand seals, practicing the extinguishing heaven and earth mental technique to the extreme. I will directly refine this immortal's will of yours. Xiaofan's heart was filled with vicious thoughts. This wisp of the celestials will turned into a brand, intending to directly refine Xiaofan's soul and mental power star to explode. Xiaofan, on the other hand, was paying it back in its own coin, activating the extinguishing sky decimating earth mental power technique to refine this celestial's will. To be continued. Chapter 517. On the arena. The situation was extremely strange. Xiaofan and Naga actually dared to sit cross-legged on the stage, no longer attacking each other. In this battle full of ups and downs, Xiaofan and Nagas could be said to have 100 tricks up their sleeves, each displaying their trump cards. At the end of the battle, both of them did not hold back and used their trump cards against each other. In the end, Naga revealed his trump card as an immortal. He communicated with the immortal realm and received a strand of immortal will, forcing it into Xiaofan's mind. This Tao Immortals will formed an imprint that engraved itself onto Xiaofan's Psyche Force star. It wanted to refine Xiaofan's Psyche Force star until it exploded. The will of an immortal was not something mortals could resist. No blasphemy or violation, only punishment. Immortals and humans were two completely different levels of life. Everyone knew that Xiaofan's soul, mental energy, and even his physical body were unparalleled among mortals. But before the will of an immortal, he was no different from an ant. Naga sat cross-legged, slowly recuperating, recovering his lost essence, qi, and sword qi. His battle with Xiaofan had consumed a lot of his energy. The heart devil sword qi that he had painstakingly cultivated had been devoured by Xiaofan, leaving nothing behind. He had wasted 1,000 years of his blood, sweat, and tears. Furthermore, Naga's connection to the world of immortals and the will of immortals had almost exhausted all of his life force and potential. Now, he needed to spend a lot of time and effort to adjust and recover. As Naga recuperated, he looked coldly at Xiaofan. His mouth was full of mockery, and his eyes revealed the attitude of a victor. "Brat, just wait for your death. The will of the immortals will destroy your soul. They were all refined into nothingness. I'll watch you die." And Xiaofan. Hong hong hong, it was the mark of an immortal. Dazzling golden light. Like a golden band spell, Xiaofan's mental energy star was completely locked down. The vast immortal qi was everywhere, and it started to refine Xiaofan's mental energy star. Xiaofan had suffered greatly. His face contorted involuntarily. On his forehead, there was a faint smile on his face. His entire body was covered in cold sweat, and his veins were bulging. At a glance, he seemed to be suffering from great torment. He was in danger of losing control at any moment and going berserk. Xiaofan was indeed having a hard time. His soul was indeed suffering incomparable torment. Suppressed by the immortal's imprint. However, Xiaofan threw caution to the wind. Both of his hands made a series of hand gestures to refine the immortal's consciousness. Xiao xiao xiao, thousands of strands of golden light. It began to be born, lingering around Xiaofan's spiritual energy star. The golden light formed a complex and cryptic hand gesture. Without any fear, it wrapped around the immortal mark and began to refine it. The immortal's imprint, and the spirit-destroying palm imprint, began to fight for every inch of land. Neither side gave way. A fight to the death. Fortunately, at the moment of life and death, Xiaofan had a flash of inspiration, and immediately activated the extinguishing heaven decimating earth mental power to contend against that strand of immortal will. If Xiaofan's thoughts and actions were a step slower, he would have definitely been refined by that immortal will by now. Even so, Xiaofan was suffering from great pain. The mental energy star in his sea of consciousness sometimes expanded, sometimes deflated, and it was on the verge of cracking. This caused Xiaofan to suffer from great pain in his soul. This kind of pain was truly unbearable. It was more than 100 times more intense than the pain in his physical body. Xiaofan also could not endure it. His entire body began to tremble, and from his throat came a low roar of pain. Roar roar roar, kid, you must be in great pain now, right? Your soul is being devoured by the great immortal's consciousness bit by bit. Naga, who was extremely tired, now saw Xiaofan's miserable state, but he let out a hearty and joyful smile. How delightful! You are a genius, very stunning, and you must have a heaven-defying ambition in your heart. But now, you are going to die here, and your soul will be refined, turning into ashes. You must be very regretful in your heart, regretting making me, Naga, your enemy, right? Ha 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 ha. How delightful! How delightful! To be able to see you die in endless regret and unwillingness with my own eyes, how delightful! Ha 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 ha. Naga laughed as he shook his head, very pleased. After a few hundred breaths, Still resisting? Naga originally thought that, as a mere mortal, Xiaofan could only resist for a few dozen breaths, which was already very impressive. But he never imagined that Xiaofan was still bitterly resisting, and had not yet been refined to death by the immortal's consciousness. Naga could not help but feel anxious. Idiot! Still resisting stubbornly. Give up. You can't win against the immortal. Instead of dying in endless torture and pain, why not just let go of your soul and be refined to death by the immortal's consciousness? That's a quick death. Xiaofan was indeed in more and more pain. Refining this wisp of Immortal's consciousness was more difficult than refining Jida's soul sword chi, and even more than refining Naga's heart devil sword chi. Xiaofan had practically pushed the extinguishing sky and earth mental technique to its limits, but at this moment, it could only temporarily preserve his life. The endless golden light produced by the extinguishing sky and earth mental technique could not penetrate into the Immortal's imprint to analyze and refine it. It was extremely difficult. But Xiaofan did not give up. It's impossible that I can't refine it. My extinguishing sky and earth mental technique is also an extremely powerful immortal technique. Since it's an immortal technique, it must be able to refine the Immortal's consciousness. Moreover, Naga only brought down a little bit of the Immortal's consciousness, how could I not be able to refine it? Xiaofan's temperament, on the contrary, was completely stimulated by this adversity. His entire being became extremely resolute, and there was no flaw in his heart. He would not give up easily. Time passed bit by bit. The situation was also in a stalemate. Countless chivalrous heroes watching the battle now understood what was happening on the stage. They knew that Xiaofan and Nagas were fighting. The two of them are going at it again. That kid had been struck by Naga's immortal trump card. Judging from Naga's expression, looking at Naga's expression, it seems that victory is already in his grasp. Moreover, that kid is indeed in a state of exhaustion. But that kid's tenacity is too strong. It seems that he can still hold on for a while. This battle is too difficult. It seems that Naga has also used all his trump cards. Now, Naga temporarily does not have the strength to fight, but that kid is even more miserable. As for Xiao Mingchu, Luo Tianyu, and the others, other than praying for Xiaofan, they could not help at all. They were very clear that the battle between Xiaofan and Naga had reached the most crucial moment. The outcome was about to be decided. Of course, the situation was extremely bad for Xiaofan, on the arena. Half an hour had already passed. Xiaofan was not dead yet. Roar! What is going on? Naga finally became flustered and exasperated. The great Immortal's will, why can't it refine this kid to death? What kind of accident happened? Impossible. That's the will of a sword immortal with extraordinary strength in the immortal world. With just a thought, it can shatter countless mortal planes. How can it not deal with a little kid? Xiaofan activated the extinguishing sky and destroying earth mental technique. He bitterly tangled with the Immortal's will. After experiencing countless times of near collapse. After the situation of reining in the horse at the brink of the precipice, finally, Xiaofan also obtained a huge breakthrough. The golden light formed by the extinguishing sky and destroying earth mental technique finally broke through the Immortal's mark. Xiao xiao xiao, endless golden light, like mercury flowing on the ground, began to enter the Immortal's mark. At the same time, the Immortal's mark's refinement of Xiaofan's mental power star also began to slow down. It seems to be restraining the tyranny of the Immortal's will. My extinguishing sky and destroying earth mental technique is slowly taking the initiative. Suddenly, Xiaofan's confidence exploded. His hands were like shadows of light, faster and faster forming the extinguishing sky and destroying earth mental technique. In his sea of consciousness, golden light interweaved and swarmed into the Immortal's mark. As the control of the Immortal's mark weakened, the pain in Xiaofan's soul also began to ease up. Originally, Xiaofan's extremely twisted and contorted face also relaxed, and his facial features smoothed out. Naga's eyes became frightened. What's going on? It seems like that kid is getting more and more relaxed. Not only is he not completely suppressed by the Immortal's will, but he is also getting more and more relaxed. Impossible. Naga, can't kill him even after using my strongest trump card? This is complete nonsense. My teacher once said that I, Naga, am destined to become an immortal in this life, and it is impossible for me to be defeated in the hands of a mortal. This kid has already caused me to be disgraced. There is no way he can defeat this invincible trump card of mine. It's impossible. Many of the chivalrous heroes who were watching the battle had already sensed that something was wrong. That kid has been suffering great pain, and showed signs of collapsing a few times. He only managed to survive it by risking his life, like a candle in the wind, extinguished at any time. But now, he seems to have completely recovered. There is even a faint smile on his face. No way. That kid can still turn over a new leaf? Naga has already used the Immortal's trump card, and it still can't kill him? In the arena. It's done. What Immortals will? Refine it for me. Finally, the Immortal's mark engraved on the mental power star was corroded by countless golden light, and finally collapsed. The Immortal's will within was erased, and turned into the source of Immortal's will, scattering in all directions. The huge pressure in Xiaofan's soul finally dissipated completely. At this time, Xiaofan absolutely did not dare to be careless. He did not stop for a moment, and frantically activated the extinguishing sky and destroying earth mental technique. Finally, at the same time that the Immortal's mark scattered, the extinguishing sky and destroying earth mental technique pursued and attacked, and completely refined the scattered source of Immortal's will. Boom! Endless immortal light began to fuse into Xiaofan's mental power star. Xiaofan's mental power began to rise steadily. It was unstoppable. The benefits of refining this Immortal's will far exceeded the benefits of refining Jida's soul sword Qi, and Naga's mental demon sword Qi. Xiaofan's mental power star exploded with the most scorching light of eternity. In an instant, the light of enlightenment appeared on Xiaofan's face, as if his heart was illuminated by the holy light in an instant. From his head, a halo of mental power that could illuminate the world radiated out. At this moment, the strength of Xiaofan's mental power was deduced to an extreme. Spirit Finger Technique number 21. Succeed for me. Mental Power Solidification. Xiaofan's hands formed a seal, and the final gesture of breaking through to the 21st Spirit Finger Technique was completed in an instant. To be continued. Chapter 518. Xiaofan finally took advantage of the situation and completed his heaven-defying breakthrough. He perfectly performed the last gesture to break through to the 21st Spiritual Finger Technique. Refining that strand of immortal intent had nourished Xiaofan's mind immensely, allowing him to accumulate his strength in an instant. The solidification of spiritual power was a matter of course. At this moment, Xiaofan slowly stood up. The halo of spiritual power radiating from his brain was like a majestic blazing sun, emitting a monstrous scarlet glow. It was as if his spiritual power had completely solidified. Like sharp swords and heavy hammers, they slammed into the air in all directions of the arena, exploding with sonorous sounds of metal colliding. Every pore of Xiaofan's cells, every bone, and every piece of skin seemed to have undergone a new transformation and glowed with new vitality. His entire skin began to become smooth, glossy, and flawless. His temperament had also become extraordinary. Thick immortal qi was released from his brain. His body was as straight as a sword, his black hair fluttering in the wind. His eyes looked at Naga, who was stunned. His intimidating gaze caused Naga to collapse in horror. From Naga's point of view, the current Xiaofan actually gave off a feeling of neither joy nor sorrow. He was high and mighty, like an illusion of a god. This caused Naga's heart to involuntarily give birth to the idea of prostrating before Xiaofan. Rumble. At this moment, Xiaofan's spiritual power moved slightly. A strand of golden spiritual power slightly burst out and struck in the air. Instantly, the entire arena shook. Even those who were standing in the wooden huts and watching the battle in front of the screen felt that the arena was about to explode, by Xiaofan's spiritual power. Impossible. That kid's spiritual power seems to be able to directly explode everything. How is this possible? And, it seems like his spiritual power is showing a kind of gold, tangible and material. Indeed, now, Xiaohan's spiritual power. It was no longer nothingness, no longer liquid, but solid. A perfect solid. The spiritual power star in Xiaohan's sea of consciousness had completely solidified into a metal sphere. It was a golden ball that was completely dark gold in color. This golden ball. Not only was the surface bumpy and filled with mystical runes, even the interior was compact and solid. After solidifying his psychic energy, Xiaohan's psychic energy could transform into a saber or sword that he could use to stab out. He could kill people and ghosts. With a single thought, he could destroy an army of 1,000. Annihilate ghosts and immortals. Good. Good. Now that my mental energy has completely solidified, my mental energy fluctuation can even shatter the mountains and earth. My mental energy can transform into sabers and swords. Its quality is not inferior to ordinary immortal artifacts. Furthermore, I can use it as I please. In an instant, Xiaohan understood some of the methods and mysteries of using the solid-state spiritual force. However, he still needed to continue exploring and comprehending it in the future. Of course, after his mental energy solidified, Xiaohan's life saber qi became much stronger. Its might had also increased by countless times. Now, Xiaohan's natal saber qi could also transform into a golden saber. It was no longer a pure qi. Dealing with Nagas now is a piece of cake, even if he's at his peak. I also killed him in an instant. There was no suspense. Xiaohan gave it a try. With a thought, waves of psychic energy spread out and surrounded Xiaohan's body, forming 999 golden daggers. Every golden dagger had a perfect curve and was engraved with complicated and exquisite spirit patterns. Moreover, they were all extremely sharp and emitted a cold luster that could freeze one's soul. As they moved and trembled, there was a kind of pressure that could cause one's soul to collapse. Kakik, Nagas stared at Xiaohan with his mouth agape. His eyes were filled with fear and despair. Mental energy. Mental energy can transform into physical weapons. This is the legendary mental energy. Mental energy solidification. This is almost a spiritual realm that mortals can't reach. Why is it like this? Why is it like this? In an instant, Nagas's entire body aged. Boundless despair gripped him. At this moment, facing Xiaohan, he finally felt like an ant. He himself was an ant. As for Xiaohan, he was like a god, forcing him to submit to him. For all eternity, he would never have the chance to defeat Xiaohan. He didn't even have the courage to fight. Nagas. Xiaohan took a small step forward and looked at Nagas again. His eyes were filled with compassion, magnanimity, and an unfathomable temperament. Speaking of which, I have to thank you for my help to be able to solidify my mental energy. If you hadn't guided the immortals will into my sea of consciousness and tried to refine my soul, I wouldn't have had the chance to step into the supreme realm of solidifying spiritual force. You were wrong, you wanted to use the immortals' will to kill me, but it actually helped me. Naga, thank you. Xiaohan's words were a huge mockery to Nagas. Pooh! A mouthful of hot blood shot out from Nagas's mouth. His face was pale as he continuously retreated. His body swayed as he looked up at the sky. How ironic. I didn't think that I, Nagas, a hero of a generation, a genius gifted by the heavens, would actually become a gift for you, you dog. The heart devil sword chi that I cultivated for 1,000 years was refined by you. Even the immortal's intent that I received was refined by you, granting you an invincible cultivation base. Mental energy solidification, you can practically sweep through the entire human world, you won't meet an opponent. I can't accept this. I, Nagas, can't accept this. At this moment, Nagas's eyes burst with a ferocious and crazed expression. Suddenly, he roared like a beast. Using the remaining soul, mental energy, and sword chi in his body, he slashed out a blood-red sword chi. It was as long as a waterfall, and it suddenly slashed towards Xiaofan. This was Naga's counterattack before his death. It was extremely ferocious. The great accomplishment natal sword chi carried with it a bloodthirsty and decadent sound. It pierced through the void and crushed the soul. As fast as a beam of light, it suddenly slashed towards Xiaofan. Originally, Nagas was still lamenting. However, at this moment, he unexpectedly launched a sneak attack. He was very close to Xiaofan. In less than 1/100th of a breath, the blood-red sword chi directly slashed towards Xiaofan's forehead. However, at this moment, bang! Just as the blood-red sword chi was about to pierce through Xiaofan's forehead and directly into his brain, Xiaofan's mental energy fluctuated slightly. A golden light flashed. The blood-red sword chi was shattered into nothingness. It's useless, Nagas. The difference between you and me is like the difference between heaven and earth. Killing you is like killing a pig or a dog. It's time to end this genius zone exploration. I should also leave with Big Senior Brother and the others. Xiao. As soon as he finished speaking, the 999 golden daggers surrounding Xiaofan's body, like a swarm of locusts, pierced towards Nagas. Bang! 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 Each golden dagger accurately pierced into Naga's body. In the next moment, boom! The 999 golden daggers formed from mental energy exploded within Naga's body. In an instant, Nagas was blown into pieces. Then, the 999 golden daggers turned into 999 golden streams of light and returned to Xiaofan's brain. Yes, a weapon formed from spiritual force can be used to kill people at will. It's ridiculously powerful, much stronger than any true chi skill. For example, just now, when a random golden dagger entered Naga's body, I could explode it if I wanted to. The powerful spiritual force would instantly destroy Naga's life force, blowing him up into pieces. Now, I, Xiaofan, am no longer weaker than most tower masters. After killing Naga, Xiaofan felt as if he had been cut off from a lifetime ago. At this moment, countless chivalrous spirits watching the battle let out cries of shock. Nagas is dead. It's over. The genius zone exploration is over. It ends with Naga's death. Heavens, I can't believe that a genius like Nagas died in the hands of an unknown kid. That kid is too strong. In the end, he killed Nagas with his mental energy. His mental energy has reached the solidified realm. It's hard to find an opponent in the world. Unless an immortal suppresses him. But how can an immortal descend to the lower realm? Invincible. That kid is absolutely invincible now. He's rising. More glorious than Nagas. More dazzling than Nagas. Even Nagas couldn't kill him with his immortal methods. He will be even harder to kill in the future. Junior brother Xiaofan. We won. Ha 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 ha. Xiao Mingchu was crying tears of joy. As for Luo Tianyu, he was also sobbing silently. Perfect. Perfect. Ha ha ha. Now we can temporarily leave the genius zone and return home. On the stage. Following Naga's death, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice descended. Junior, this emperor wants to congratulate you. You defeated all your competitors and survived in the top 32. You are the only survivor. Your temperament, your battle power, your talent, your luck, they are all invincible. In the future, your path will be very grand. One day, you will ascend to the heavens and achieve the immortal Tao. Then, this emperor will now bestow the only purple immortal key to you. I will also give you an endless amount of immortal stones. Remember, you must refine the purple immortal key into your body. This way, after you leave the genius zone, no one will be able to snatch it away. When the second floor of this Emperor's treasure is opened, you can use the spatial teleportation formation contained in the purple Immortal key to directly teleport here. As he spoke, a purple, glittering key appeared in the void above the sky arena and slowly descended towards Xiaofan. The surface of this Immortal key was covered with ancient and dignified mysterious runes. It displayed the aura of an immortal and an immortal treasure. I can feel that the aura of this purple celestial key is very different from the blue celestial key that I refined into my body. Xiaofan suddenly felt that there seemed to be something special about this purple celestial key. Chapter 519. After a series of twists and turns, Xiaofan finally turned his number one enemy, Naga, into ashes. Xiao. At this moment, after killing Naga, the immortal stones, immortal cards, and the remnants of Naga's storage ring flowed out from the light yellow pouch on Naga's head. They flowed towards Xiaofan like water. Moreover, the immortal stones from this competition also flowed into Xiaofan's hands. Xiaofan did not reject any of them and accepted all of them. In the next moment, Xiaofan reached out with his right hand and grabbed the extremely precious purple key. The purple immortal key emanated a long, lingering, immortal aura that made Xiaofan's psychic fluctuations permeate it. It felt like he was in a paradise of immortals, which was extremely mystical. Moreover, on the surface of the purple immortal key, the child talismans and runes had an extremely obvious immortal aura. Xiaofan played with the purple immortal key for a while, but he didn't really discover its secret. Suddenly, an idea flashed through Xiaofan's mind. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's message repeatedly reminded me to refine this purple deity key into my body. Could it be that the true secret of this seemingly extraordinary purple deity key will only appear after I refine it? With that thought in mind, Xiaofan put the purple immortal key into his storage ring without batting an eyelid. Meanwhile, rays of light were fired from all directions, encapsulating Xiaofan's figure. This caused Xiaofan's body to grow fainter and fainter on the arena stage. He was about to be teleported back to his log cabin. Phew, it's finally over. The exploration of the Genius Zone was truly legendary. It was filled with opportunities, dangers, and greed. Cunning, arrogant. Now, everything has been settled. Xiaofan thought to himself. He was also relaxed. Without a doubt, Xiaofan was the biggest winner in this expedition to the Genius area. He had obtained the most celestial stones, and he had also obtained the purple key, which was said to be the most precious. It was a rewarding journey. However, to Xiaofan himself, what he was most excited about was not the treasures, but the explosive increase in his own combat power. The embryonic form of a dual attribute immortal physique. Spiritual solidification. Especially after his mental power solidified, Xiaofan could practically sweep through the entire human realm. Almost invincible. To Xiaofan, entering and exiting the Genius Zone was like a completely different person. This situation was like a dream. Inside the wooden house. Xiaofan's body froze in the wooden hut. Just as he stabilized his body, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice was transmitted from the light screen of the wooden house. Everyone, stay in the Genius area. Juniors in the Giant Hall area, listen up, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao has something else to announce. Xiaofan's attention was also focused. You can leave now. Ha ha ha. Although, this is this Emperor's lair. However, it's time to disperse. Ha ha ha. All the treasures in the treasury of this Genius area have been completely exchanged by you guys. Your goal has been achieved. Well. All the celestial keys to enter the second level of this monarch's treasure vault have been exchanged by all of you, giving you the right to enter the second level of this monarch's treasure vault. However, the second level of this emperor's treasury will not be opened for the time being. After leaving the Genius area, you can return to your respective homes. 10 years later, the second level of the treasure vault will be opened. Every celestial key has a spatial coordinate teleportation formation. After you refine the celestial key into your body, the formation will be activated 10 years later. You can activate the formation and directly teleport here to explore the second level of the treasure vault. Of course, different celestial keys can bring different numbers of people into the second level. As for who you want to bring in, this emperor will not interfere. However, this emperor has to remind everyone that the danger of the second level of the treasure vault is many times greater than the genius area. Whether you dare to come or not will depend on your courage and determination. 10 years of rest will also give you time to adjust your mentality and buffer. It will also allow you to deal with worldly matters. Also, you can think of ways to use the treasures you obtain from the genius area in these 10 years. Lastly, this emperor has to remind you that in these 10 years, what you must do is not to be complacent, but to work hard to improve your combat strength. An extra bit of combat strength will increase your chances of survival in the exploration 10 years later. Alright, all of you are dismissed. 3 days later, the genius area will produce a repulsive force and close. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice disappeared without a trace. Moreover, it seemed like it would not be heard again. At least in 10 years, before the second level of the treasure vault opens, many demon warriors would not hear Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice again. 10 years. Xiaofan also completely understood the rules. 10 years, for us true Qi cultivators, it will pass in the blink of an eye. After 10 years, I will definitely come back to explore the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure vault again. Xiaofan could not help but look at his heart. The layers of 10,000 immortal formation firmly sealed the wriggling demon god's aura in his heart. In these 10 years, I hope that the demon god's egg will not break through the seal and break out. Xiaofan secretly prayed. At the same time, Xiaofan also made up his mind to focus on cultivating the Saber Dao in these 10 years. If he could enter the Saber intent godly state earlier, it would be the best. He could then use the ancient Saber soul to strengthen his Saber Qi and kill the demon god's soul. However, even though Xiaofan had completed the 21st finger technique of the extinguishing heaven and earth mental technique and achieved the heaven-defying solidification of mental energy, his soul was still not close enough to the door of the Saber realm, let alone open the door of the Saber realm. Xiaofan tried for a while and his soul entered the realm of harmony between heaven and man. His entire soul and mind left his body and roamed the 9 heavens. Once again, he saw the door of the Saber realm. This time, Xiaofan's soul was much stronger than before. He was able to get closer and closer to the door of the Saber realm. When Xiaofan's soul was still 10,000 li away from the door of the Saber realm, his soul was finally stirred up by countless spacetime storms and showed signs of shattering. If he took another step forward, his soul would collapse. Xiaofan did not dare to be reckless. He quickly retreated and his soul returned to his body. 10,000 li away. I'm still 10,000 li away from the door of the Saber realm. Xiaofan hesitated. However, his face was soon filled with a smile. I already have a definite target. 10,000 li. Before this, the door of the Saber realm was very illusory to me. It was impractical and I did not know the end of it. But now, I have a very accurate idea of the distance. 10,000 li. I believe that as long as I cultivate the extinguishing heaven and earth mental technique again and reach the great perfection realm, my soul will ascend again and I will definitely be able to open the door of the Saber realm. Suddenly, Xiaofan looked at his heart. An unyielding fighting spirit appeared at the corner of his mouth as he murmured. Demon God, I, Xiaofan, will not sit still and wait for death. Not long after, Xiaofan's devil hero token buzzed. Xiaofan calmed himself down and took out the devil hero token. It was a message from Xiao Mingchu. Xiaofan grinned and walked out of the wooden hut. In the fragrant garden. Xiaofan's camp, Xiao Mingchu, Luo Tianyu, Xiaofan's 5 devil hero slaves, and a few other devil hero companions who were still in the huge hall gathered together to welcome Xiaofan. When Xiaofan appeared in front of the crowd, he was greeted with fanatical adoration. All sorts of heartfelt congratulatory words rang out incessantly. Junior brother Xiaofan. In the end, you still became the most powerful one under 10,000 years old in the vast and endless ordinary dimensions. Naga was an invincible legend at this level, but he was killed by you in the end. Junior brother Xiaofan, you have already replaced Naga's position. No, you are even more amazing than Naga. You are even more heaven-defying than Naga. If I am not wrong, junior brother Xiaofan, your mental energy has already solidified. The realm of materialization of mental energy only exists in the ancient books. Since ancient times, it was almost impossible for mortals to cultivate it. And junior brother Xiaofan, you. Xiao Mingchu choked with sobs. Who would have thought? Our Pure Rain sect actually has an unparalleled demon. Fortune of the Dimension. Fortune of the Dimension. Luo Tianyu also cried bitterly. A genius at Xiaohan's level, not to mention in Xiaohan's dimension, even in the countless ordinary dimensions, there might not be one in a few trillion years. Moreover, Xiaohan was not even 100 years old. At this rate of improvement, it was almost certain that he would become an immortal in the future. Even if he ascended and became an immortal, he would definitely make a name for himself when he reached the celestial realm. Facing his own people, Xiaohan did not put on an act. He spoke humbly and did not put on airs. At this time, countless demon heroes who were watching the battle from all directions had already rushed over and started to flatter Xiaohan, crazily praising him. Xiaohan was annoyed and impatient, so he impatiently sent these demons away. With Xiaohan's current strength, with just a glare, these monsters did not dare to be noisy and obediently dispersed. Junior brother Xiaohan, when are we leaving this genius zone? Xiao Mingchu asked for Xiaohan's opinion. Luo Tianyu was also trembling with excitement. Ha ha ha. Little brother Xiaohan, now I want to see how shocked the pagoda master will be when you leave. Ha ha ha. Previously, the pagoda master coveted some of junior brother Xiaohan's secrets. However, with junior brother Xiaohan's current cultivation and combat strength, if he dares to provoke Rahu again after leaving this place, junior brother Xiaohan can kill him with a glance or a wisp of mind wave. Xiao Mingchu also chuckled coldly. When he thought of the pagoda master's fickle and ugly face, Xiao Mingchu also showed a hint of disdain. Ha! Xiaohan laughed. I also want to see how the pagoda master will treat me now. Xiaohan paused for a moment before saying. I'll quickly refine the purple immortal key into my body. Then, we'll return to our respective wooden houses and activate the teleportation array in the light screen to leave this genius zone. After saying that, Xiaohan took out the purple immortal key and dripped a drop of warm blood into it. Swoosh, the purple immortal key turned into a wisp of immortal qi and entered Xiaohan's body. Chapter 520. Before leaving the genius zone, Xiaohan refined the most precious immortal key, the purple immortal key, into his body and blood vessels. In the nearby garden, some of the demons couldn't help but look at Xiaohan with admiration. TSK, a purple immortal key, known as the most precious immortal key in the entire genius zone, was refined by that kid. I'm so envious, don't be envious. He obtained the purple immortal key by relying on his amazing battle strength and monstrous talent. He deserves it, don't be envious. Heh, that's true. However, there's nothing special about the purple immortal key. It can only bring more people in when exploring the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure trove. What's the use of that? Why bring so many people in? Just refine a few more blue or even green immortal keys into your body, and you can also bring more people into the second level. Right. Alright, let's leave the genius zone now, let's go. I miss my wife and children when I return to my hometown. I'll have a good rest for 10 years. Let's work hard when we return to our hometown. We didn't prepare well this time and let Naga and that kid steal the limelight. It might not be the same after 10 years. Right. After 10 years of hard work, everyone will improve and might not be weaker than others. At this moment, the Taoists left the genius zone one after another. Eldest senior brother, big brother Luo, we should also. Xiaofan smiled and prepared to leave. At this moment, boom, the purple immortal key that was refined into his body suddenly emitted a scorching feeling. Immediately after, a vast and ethereal will directly entered Xiaofan's mind. It was the will of an immortal. Vigorous. Generous. Scorching. Domineering. Ha 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 ha, good boy. Ha 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 ha. Good. Good. You're not bad. It was Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice. It rumbled in Xiaofan's mind. Zhu. Xiaofan was shocked and blurted out. However, at the crucial moment, Xiaofan forcefully held back his words. Zhu. Dao. Immortal. Emperor. It's a wisp of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's will. It went into my sea of consciousness. Junior brother Xiaofan, what happened? Little brother Xiaofan, what happened? Xiao Mingchu and Luo Tianyu could not help but ask. No, nothing. Xiaofan quickly said without batting an eyelid. Before figuring out what was going on, Xiaofan couldn't tell Xiao Mingchu and the rest about this sudden incident. After pausing for a moment, Xiaofan said. Eldest senior brother, big brother Luo, everyone, let's return to the wooden huts now. After that, we'll activate the teleportation formation and meet up with the pagoda master and the elders outside, alright. Xiao Mingchu and the rest had absolute trust in Xiaofan. They nodded and returned to their respective wooden houses. On the way back to the wooden hut, Xiaofan was shaken to the core. The will of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao actually started to ramble in Xiaofan's sea of consciousness. The purple immortal key has been obtained by you. According to the rules set by this sovereign, you should have defeated all your competitors and obtained the title of the number one genius. Not bad, but don't be afraid. This purple immortal key only has a trace of this sovereign's divine sense sealed within it. Ha ha ha, do you think that the purple immortal key can only bring more people into the second floor of this sovereign's treasure vault? Ha ha ha. If this is the only benefit, why would this sovereign let all of you fight to the death? Let me tell you, the purple immortal key has many other benefits. Many preferential treatment. Xiaofan's footsteps paused slightly. Many preferential treatment? TSK. This Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao is very cunning. Before this, he only mentioned the benefits of the purple immortal key. I didn't expect that there was a hidden meaning behind it. Yes, the other immortal keys definitely don't have my divine sense. Now that you've obtained the purple immortal key, I'll naturally give you more benefits from now on. And these benefits will open the door for you to explore the second floor, the third floor and even the fourth floor of this sovereign's treasure vault. Ha ha ha. Tell me, you risked your life to obtain this purple immortal key. Is it worth it? Let me tell you, it is absolutely worth it. Moreover, you have already been preliminarily selected as the fated person to inherit this sovereign's legacy. Ha 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 ha. What? Inherit Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's legacy. Hearing this, Xiaofan's blood boiled. This was like a pie falling from the sky. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's combat strength was ranked third in the entire history of the immortal world. He was also the number one saber Dao cultivator in the immortal world. Coincidentally, Xiaofan was also a saber master. If Xiaofan could obtain Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's legacy, it would definitely be a perfect match. It would be immeasurable for Xiaofan to restrain his desires and even kill the demon god's soul. Xiaofan's heart began to tremble. This is really an unintentional move. When I participated in the final 32 and fought for the purple immortal key, I didn't think of this. This is too unexpected, too surprising. I've directly become a candidate to inherit Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's legacy, boy, very surprised and very excited, right? However, I can't say that you are definitely qualified to inherit this sovereign Saber Dao's legacy. I can only say that you have a head start compared to the other demon heroes. The key still depends on your performance in the future. Alright, this sovereign's divine sense will temporarily hide. When you enter the second level of the treasure 10 years later, this divine sense will awaken again. At that time, it will guide you some things. Regarding the secret of this purple immortal key, I advise you not to tell anyone else. Otherwise, it will bring about misfortune. The human heart is unpredictable. Take care. Speaking till here, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's voice became silent. The immortal will that was lingering in Xiaofan's sea of consciousness also dissipated. Phew, I see. I have to wait until 10 years later when I enter the second level of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure, then this divine sense will awaken again. However, this is also good. At least there is a light and a guide for me to explore in Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure. I won't be blind anymore. Xiaofan was overjoyed. He returned to his wooden house and activated the teleportation formation in the light screen. An indescribable power of teleportation gushed out from the light screen and enveloped Xiaofan. Xiaofan's body gradually became distorted and blurry. Outside the Genius Zone. Outside Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair, there was a huge piece of land floating in space. Boundless. Frozen solid. At this moment, on this piece of land, there were densely packed humans standing like an ant nest. It was a dense mass of people. People with reddish-brown skin, black skin, yellow skin, white skin, light armor, cloak, battle armor, men, women, young men, middle-aged men, old men. How many people were there? Tens of millions? 100 million? A few hundred million? These were all elites from the various realms who had come to explore the Genius Zone. All the geniuses under 10,000 years of age from the various planes had entered the Genius Zone. However, the Tower Masters, Elders, and Protector Beasts of the various planes had yet to leave. They were all waiting outside the Genius Zone, craning their necks in anticipation. At this time, the exploration of the Genius Zone had been going on for a while. Some geniuses under the age of 10,000 who had entered the Genius Zone, whether they had obtained benefits or gained nothing, came out one after another. Every young geniuses who came out of the Genius Zone would cause a commotion. These young geniuses came out with immortal pills, magic treasures, and immortal weapons. They also brought out information from the Genius Zone. Therefore, on the boundless land, the chivalrous men of every plane were in a heated discussion. That's great. The children of my realm have brought out countless immortal pills. Ha 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 ha. Good. Good. When we return to our realm, we will definitely reward you handsomely. An offensive immortal weapon. Good children. They have contributed to the rise of our realm. With this celestial artifact, we can wipe out the demon clan in no time. Ha ha ha. They actually brought out some immortal technique manuals. And, after we return, we will study these manuals carefully. As long as we can comprehend even a little bit of them, we will be able to create a peerless divine technique. Immortal pills? The children have brought back so many immortal pills. Good. When we return to our realm, I will immediately announce this to the world and gather all the alchemists to refine the neutral divine medicine. We will then melt all these immortal pills so that we can all enjoy them. Oh. The real treasures are still inside? And the geniuses are still fighting inside. Wait, let's wait and see which realm the real winner is from. Let's not rush back. Let's wait and see. At this time, the Tower Masters of some other realms had received the news and knew that there were still people fighting for the great treasures in the Genius Zone. Thus, they waited outside and stared at Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure vault and the dark planet with sinister eyes. Many pagoda masters would ask this question, what? The top 32? The round of death? In that case, the survivors of the top 32 would obtain the best treasures? Let's not talk about the treasures first. The people who fight until the end will also have a shocking amount of immortal stones. Immortal stones can be exchanged for immortal cards, and immortal cards can be used as currency in the second floor of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure vault. Interesting, very interesting. At Xiaofan's realm, the crowd was also excited. The Tower Master and many elders surrounded Yan Qi and the other geniuses who came out of the Genius Zone in advance. Yan Qi, you guys are really extraordinary to be able to come out of the Genius Zone alive. Ha ha ha, Yan Qi, what treasures did you exchange for? Contribute them to the realm. Make your due contribution to the realm. The Tower Master looked at Yan Qi with a threatening gaze. His gaze was like that of a wolf. It seemed that if Yan Qi and the others hesitated for even a moment, they would be eaten alive by the Tower Master. Indeed, Yan Qi had exchanged for a few immortal weapons. He would definitely not willingly take them out. However, due to the pressure, he could only swallow his anger. Suddenly, Yan Qi's eyes moved and he said in a low voice. Tower Master, I did not exchange for many treasures. I only exchanged for a few immortal pills and 1 or 2 immortal weapons. Xiaofan came back with a lot. Tower Master, Xiaofan is still accumulating wealth in the Genius Zone. If he can come out alive, TSK, the immortal weapons in his hands will definitely fill up his storage ring. Immortal pills, immortal medicines, immortal techniques. I can't even count them all. Xiaofan, this kid, actually obtained so many treasures. Is that true? The Tower Master's voice was completely shaky as he stared at Yan Qi. Of course. Pagoda Master, if you have any doubts, feel free to ask the other geniuses from the other planes. They all saw Xiaofan in the Genius Zone. He was in the limelight and plundering treasures. Yan Qi bragged. He paused for a moment and licked his face. That's why I said, Tower Master, you can just ask Xiaofan for treasures. I only have a few things, it's too shabby, at that moment. They're out. The Genius Zone seems to be completely closed. The last few people are coming out from the Genius Zone. It's that young man. He won all the battles in the top 32. I can't believe he killed the Nagas. That's him. I saw him kill the Nagas with my own eyes and become the first person to do so. They're out. They're all out. At that moment, Xiaohan, Xiao Mingchu, and the rest had already teleported out from the Genius Zone. The moment Xiaohan came out, it immediately caused a stir in the entire continent. Countless pairs of eyes were looking at Xiaohan. Tower Master, Xiaohan is out. He's really amazing. He actually came out alive. Then, he must have defeated the last opponent, and had the last laugh. Yan Qi was also a little surprised as he pointed at Xiaohan. Tower Master, the benefits that Xiaohan obtained must be many times more than what I've described. To be continued. Chapter 521. Xiaohan, Xiao Mingchu, and the others were teleported out of the Genius Zone. After Xiaohan and the others left, the last wave of demons came out one after another. Thus, the Genius Zone began to close. Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's lair was a black planet. On the surface of the black planet, there was a circle of beautiful and gorgeous light. This light represented the Genius Zone. Now, this dreamy light was fading away at a speed visible to the naked eye. Close. As the Genius Zone closed, the palaces, gates, halls, and lofty mountains that could be seen from the outside also disappeared. Gradually, some mysterious dark restrictions on the second layer of Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's treasure were revealed. It's over. The second layer's restrictions will only open after 10 years to allow people to continue exploring. On the vast continent outside, many demons sighed with emotion. Of the tens of millions of chivalrous heroes under the age of 10,000 who had entered the genius zone to explore this time, those who had gained something, and those who had withdrawn early on and returned empty-handed, about 2/3 of them had survived. This meant that nearly 1/3 of the genius chivalrous heroes had ultimately fallen and been buried in the genius zone, their souls disappearing. The pagoda-level old-timers, as well as numerous elders, began to weep, as if they were grieving for the death of the most outstanding geniuses of their plane. However, most of the Tower Masters and Elders were looking at Xiaofan. "Tower Master, it's that young man. He made a name for himself in the genius zone and obtained many benefits. That purple immortal key. In other words, he obtained it. There's only one purple immortal key, and it's the most precious one. Tower Master. Big brother Li Xiaotian died in this guy's hands. He was beaten to death. His body was smashed to pieces. This disciple witnessed the battle with his own eyes. Tower Master. This disciple's master, the invincible sword cultivator Jida, was killed by that young man. Tower Master, please seek justice for this disciple. Tower Master, think about it. That young man must have obtained countless immortal stones by the end of the battle. I reckon that many of the precious treasures in the genius zone were exchanged by him. After all, every time he won a match, he would be rewarded with hundreds of millions, billions, or even tens of billions of immortal stones. His net worth is the most impressive." Xiaofan flew through the air. He also felt that something was wrong with the atmosphere. With a slight sweep of his spiritual wave, he discovered that many ill-intentioned gazes were staring at him. In fact, countless powerful auras that could overturn rivers and seas had already locked onto him. Xiaofan calmly laughed at this. As for Xiao Mingqiu, who was standing beside Xiaofan, Luo Tianyu and the others, on the other hand, were already scared out of their wits by the lingering aura fluctuations. Their faces were ashen. They couldn't help but shudder as they moved away, as if they were being repelled by an inexplicable and powerful force. They had no choice but to keep a certain distance from Xiaofan. He couldn't get any closer. To the countless Tower Masters and Elders, Xiao Mingqiu, Luo Tianyu, and the others standing next to Xiaofan were insignificant shrimps. They didn't care about them at all. The pressure on Xiao Mingqiu and the rest was negligible, and they were merely repelled. The real pressure was at the core of the whirlpool, and it was Xiaofan who was bearing it. This was an extremely powerful and almost invincible pressure. It should be known that there were so many experts, and every one of them was an old antique who had swept through the starry sky and dominated the universe. Not to mention their attacks and auras locking onto him, just a glance from them was enough to shatter an ordinary person's heart and soul. Xiaofan had just arrived here, and before he entered the genius zone, he almost held his breath when he saw so many experts. He didn't even dare to speak. He felt extremely oppressed, and he didn't know what to do with his hands and feet. He was completely scared silly. But now, I actually have a very relaxed feeling when facing these guys. Xiaofan was actually not afraid at all. He was completely fearless in the face of danger, and he handled it as if it were nothing. In such a dense area, facing so many invisible auras, Xiaofan was actually walking leisurely in the courtyard. His initial helplessness had completely disappeared. What replaced it was carefreeness and ease. At this moment, the solid mental power star in Xiaofan's sea of consciousness emitted a terrifying sound like steel running, completely dispelling the mental pressure that was invading him like a spring breeze. Moreover, Xiaofan's physical body was unbelievably strong, and it was impossible for it to be damaged or suffer any mishaps. At this moment, there was another burst of whispers on that piece of land. So strong. This young man actually exudes the aura of a peerless expert in the face of such heavy pressure. TSK, looks like the tempering in the genius zone has tempered the heart of a true expert. He doesn't care about external things, and has found his true self. His bearing is extraordinary. Amazing. This is a climate. The momentum of his rise cannot be stopped. Under everyone's watchful eyes, Xiaofan actually stepped onto that piece of land and returned to his own plains camp. Xiao Mingchu, Luo Tianyu, and a few of Xiaohan's slaves couldn't help but wipe the sweat from their foreheads as they followed closely behind Xiaohan. Xiao Mingchu immediately sent a soul message to Xiaohan. Junior brother Xiaohan, you have to be careful. I can see that many tower masters have evil intentions towards you. Don't worry, senior brother, I can handle them all. Xiaohan responded indifferently, without the slightest trace of fear in his emotions. Instead, there was a faint feeling of restlessness, as if he was about to explode. The spirit of advancing against millions of people was displayed. This caused Xiao Mingchu, Luo Tianyu, and the others to look at each other in dismay. My junior brother Xiaohan has thoroughly risen this time. Xiao Mingchu's heart was filled with excitement, and he couldn't help but be filled with confidence in Xiaohan. That inexperienced youth from back then had now grown into an awe-inspiring, heaven-defying genius who could hold his own. However, when Xiaohan leisurely returned to his own existential plane camp, not a single tower master or elder from the other existential planes came out to cause trouble for Xiaohan. This was because Xiaohan's display of aura had stunned them, and they didn't have time to react. After all, the combined pressure of so many of the strongest experts in the secular world could virtually shatter everything. A youth whose life fluctuations were less than 100 years old should not have been able to withstand this kind of pressure. Xiaohan's calmness had indeed caused their minds to stiffen. He had never seen such a monstrous young man in front of him. On the other hand, although most of the tower masters and elders coveted Xiaohan's treasures, no one wanted to be the first to rush out and cause trouble. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, he was the first to rush out. Is often the stupidest. Xiaohan returned to the side of his plane's tower master and elders, a faint smile on his face. Greetings, pagoda master, greetings, elders. Fortunately, I didn't disappoint you. I, Xiaohan, also came out alive. You guys didn't expect this, right? Ugh, this. The pagoda master was stunned by Xiaohan's aura. His heart began to panic. However, he forced himself to calm down and couldn't help but think in his heart. Why am I panicking? It hadn't been long since this kid entered the genius zone. No matter how fast he improves, there's no way he can pose a substantial threat to me in such a short period of time. Plus, this kid's sect and family are still in this plane. How dare he act so arrogantly in front of me? The pagoda master's tense expression relaxed slightly. He put on a fake smile. Xiaohan, congratulations. I've seen through you since a long time ago. You must be a dragon among men, extraordinary and refined. It seems that you're just as I expected. Ahahaha. Oh right, Xiaohan, I heard from Yan Qi that your performance in the genius zone was amazing. Oh? Yan Qi? Xiaohan smiled coldly and turned to Yan Qi. Yan Qi licked his lips and said, Heh. Xiaohan, you really killed many of your competitors and obtained the purple immortal key. You're too brave. I'm ashamed of my own inferiority, well said. Yan Qi, you didn't say anything bad about me outside, did you? Xiaohan said mockingly. How is that possible? Yan Qi argued loudly. Humph. Suddenly, Xiaohan snorted coldly. A sound wave seeped into Yan Qi's divine soul and shook violently, almost shattering Yan Qi's soul. In an instant, Yan Qi's face turned pale. His knees buckled and he actually knelt before Xiaohan. Moreover, the blood in his chest churned. He could not control his hot blood and directly spat it out. Yan Qi, you despicable and fickle person. You like to sow discord behind people's backs. Do you think I'll believe you? You mad dog, must you slander me everywhere you go? Get lost. Xiaofan said sternly. This time, the pagoda master, the elders, and the monsters in Xiaofan's plain were as silent as cicadas in winter. Who was Yan Qi? He was an ancient giant in Xiaofan's plain. A giant who dominated an area. A person like that could be forced to kneel down with a snort from Xiaofan. It seemed that Yan Qi was like a beggar facing a monarch in front of Xiaofan. His life and death were all in Xiaofan's hands. This was too terrifying. Even in front of the pagoda master, someone of Yan Qi's status could not just kneel down at a whim. Xiaofan, you. Yan Qi's eyes were wide open, but he did not dare to resist at all. What are you waiting for? Get lost. Xiaofan did not look at Yan Qi anymore. Yan Qi shrunk to the side, not daring to meet Xiaofan's eyes. Pagoda master, Yan Qi did not stab me in the back, did he? Xiaofan looked at the pagoda master with a smile. Xiaofan. You. The pagoda master's face turned red from Xiaofan's provocation. Xiaofan, how dare you use Yan Qi to pressure me? You. You brat, are you trying to establish your dominance? Xiaofan smiled but did not say anything. He was extremely relaxed facing the pagoda master. He did not feel any pressure at all. In fact, he even felt a sense of superiority. It was as if he was completely superior to the pagoda master in terms of life. At this moment, on this mainland, the pagoda masters, elders, and countless other peerless experts from other planes forcibly suppressed their desire for Xiaofan and did not make a move. They only had one thought in mind: it seems that this brat has some conflict with the pagoda master of his plane. Alright, let's wait and see. We'll strike when the time is right. At this moment, Xiaofan shook his head and laughed. He looked at the pagoda master and shrugged. Pagoda master, you're right. I'm establishing my dominance. Xiaofan. How dare you? Immediately, an elder standing in front of the pagoda master jumped up and scolded. You don't know your place. Get lost. Xiaofan looked at the elder coldly. If you say another word, I'll kill you like a pig or a dog. Chapter 522. Xiaofan was well aware of his situation. He was simply in a whirlpool of torrents. Danger lurked in every direction. Yes, Xiaofan was the one who had the last laugh in the genius zone. Out of the tens of millions of fiendish heroes who entered, only Xiaofan fought to the end and obtained endless immortal stones as a reward. He also plundered countless immortal stones from several top opponents. In the end, the purple immortal key was also taken by Xiaofan. Xiaofan was like the sun in the sky. Since he was in the limelight, the outside world would definitely know about it. The fiends who had come out of the genius zone could spread the news about Xiaofan. Especially the fiends who had watched the battle between Xiaofan and Naga. They had the capital to brag about it. Xiaofan knew that there were countless pagoda lords out there, as well as heaven-defying old-timers, waiting for him to show up. Humans died for wealth, and birds died for food. These old antiques would definitely rob Xiaofan after knowing that he had returned with a full load. They were restricted by age and couldn't enter the genius zone, but that didn't mean they didn't have evil intentions. Not just the jackals from other planes, but even the pagoda masters of Xiaofan's plane weren't easy to deal with. Xiaofan knew that he was in trouble both internally and externally. In such a disadvantageous situation, Xiaofan knew that he couldn't be soft. He had to be strong. When necessary, he had to kill to establish his authority. Therefore, whether it was the pagoda masters of his plane or the strongest experts from other planes, Xiaofan wouldn't show any mercy if they dared to provoke him. There were too many experts on this continent, tens of millions or even hundreds of millions. Even with Xiaofan's current battle strength. Once he was surrounded by others, he would definitely die a terrible death. Therefore, Xiaofan had to strike first and establish his authority by killing people. Everyone would be afraid of him. That was the only way to get through this situation. The danger was self-evident. When Xiaofan faced off against the pagoda masters of his plane, his eyes and ears were alert. His mental energy swept out, observing every move of the heroes from other planes. They were all imprinted in his sea of consciousness. At this moment, Xiaofan was facing off against the heroes, but his mind was extremely calm. Every movement was reflected in his sea of consciousness. His aura had reached its peak, the most intense state he had ever been in. His life had also climbed to the peak of brilliance. Xiaofan clearly verified his own growth. The ant in the past had finally grown into a primordial beast, lying quietly in the forest. It was fine if he didn't move, but the moment he moved, he would eat people alive. Xiaofan. You. The elder who was scolded by Xiaofan glared at him angrily and his face turned purple. Oh. I think you want to die. Xiaofan's eyes were filled with killing intent, causing the elder to have no doubt that Xiaofan would attack in the next moment without mercy. In the end, the elder's aura was dispirited and he retreated. He didn't dare to say anything else. He directly admitted defeat. Xiaofan managed to stun Yan Qi and an elder with just a few words. Alright, Xiaofan. The pagoda master's eyes flickered, and then he made a compromising expression. Let's return to our hometown first. We'll talk about it after we get there. The pagoda master also felt that Xiaofan was becoming more and more extraordinary. Moreover, this was not a place to stay for long, so he used a delaying tactic. In reality, his mind was quickly brewing all kinds of schemes. Let's think of a way to return first, then we'll control Xiaofan's entire pure cloud sect. Oh right, I heard that Xiaofan has a few wives and concubines in the pure cloud sect. When the time comes, hee ha ha ha. Xiaofan laughed loudly. Pagoda master, you don't have to think about it anymore. Don't even think about taking away the treasures that I risked my life to obtain from my hands. You should give up on that thought. However, I have refined 2 immortal keys in my body. 10 years later, I can bring some people into the second level of the Ju Dao Immortal Emperor's treasure. Pagoda master, at that time, I can bring you guys in and let you guys personally explore the treasure. That way, I, Xiaofan, will have done my best. You. The pagoda master did not expect Xiaofan to be so stubborn. However, there was nothing he could do at the moment. He could only return to his plane and deal with Xiaofan later. A trace of hatred and viciousness flashed across the pagoda master's eyes. Then, he pretended to be amiable and said, Good. Xiaofan, you are the glory of my plane. A first-class genius. As you wish, everything will be as you wish. Let's go, we'll set off now and return to our plane. After saying that, the pagoda master looked around and also felt that the situation was very bad. However, he had no choice but to activate his true energy and lead everyone to fly away from this place. Quickly go to the space springboard and directly teleport away. The longer we stay here, the more dangerous it will be. There are so many strong people, it makes me panic. The pagoda master called out to everyone and hurriedly set off. Let's go. Let's go home. Many of the heroes in Xiaofan's plane were eager to return home. All of them followed the pagoda master and flew away. Soon, Xiaofan also winked at Xiao Mingchu, Luo Tianyu, and the others, and then quietly floated in the air. It was very strange. On this vast continent, only the people from Xiaofan's plane were flying and preparing to leave. The people from the other planes were all as still as mountains. The atmosphere was strange. Hurry up. Hurry up. The pagoda master urged anxiously. At this moment, finally. Boom! A giant hand directly grabbed the air. The 5 fingers of this giant hand were as tall as mountains. Absolute power surged violently and all kinds of characters sank into it. As it grabbed, the space condensed and everything around it was subdued. The entire space was completely frozen by this one grab. The pagoda master and the others were unable to fly or move at all. Their bodies were completely frozen in place. Heh! Finally, someone can't hold back anymore and wants to make a move to stop me. Xiaofan was already prepared. Silently, his battle intent rose. His eyes became colder and colder. At this moment, a middle-aged man in white appeared in front of Xiaofan and the others. His aura covered the sky and the sun. In between his eyebrows, there was a deep vein. At first glance, it was a supreme expert who had opened the heavenly eye. He was at the level of a pagoda master. His aura was far stronger than the pagoda master of Xiaohan's plane. It was this person who made a move to stop Xiaofan and the others. This. Friend. You. Why are you making things difficult for us? The pagoda master of Xiaohan's plane said angrily. However, he was not as powerful as this person. He could only swallow his anger and asked patiently. You can all leave. That young man can stay. I have a few questions for him. The middle-aged man flicked his fingernails and looked at the pagoda master. All of you can leave. Friend, you've gone too far. It seems a bit. The pagoda master clenched his teeth and said. The middle-aged man in white placed his hands behind his back. He looked at the heavenly Tao. Before the opening of the Genius Zone, Immortal Emperor Zhu Dao's intention was to protect the weaker planes and forbid us from killing each other. But now, the Genius Zone is closed. If some blind ants come jumping out at this time, then I don't mind taking action and eradicating them. Do you understand what I mean? A violent aura suddenly swept across the pagoda master. The terrifying sound of trampling elephants and roaring echoed in all directions. Get lost! The middle-aged man in white shouted fiercely. In the blink of an eye, the pagoda master, the elders, and all of the demons from Xiaohan's plane were shaken so badly that their true energy was thrown into chaos. One by one, they fell to the ground, swaying back and forth. After a few breaths of time, they finally stabilized themselves. Then, they looked up at the sky in fear. At this moment, the middle-aged man in white and Xiaofan were facing each other. Young man, you're not bad. I heard that you've obtained the most precious purple celestial key. Moreover, you've obtained countless celestial stones. You've exchanged countless treasures from the vault of the Genius Zone. The middle-aged man in white stared at Xiaofan unblinkingly. Greed flashed in his eyes. I don't know who spread the rumor that I've exchanged a lot of treasures from the vault. In fact, when I wanted to exchange some treasures for fun, the vault was already empty. It's really scary to spread false information. Xiaofan smiled bitterly in his heart. However, he did not deny it and said calmly. So what? So what if I'm not? Ha 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 ha. Suddenly, the middle-aged man in white threw his head back and laughed maniacally. The waves of his laughter caused the entire starry sky to tremble. Good. Good. Heroes indeed come from the young. You're actually able to speak with confidence and composure under this seat's pressure without batting an eyelid. As expected of the number one genius. However, young man, do you know that you killed the most powerful genius of this plane in the Genius Zone? Who? Xiaofan was stunned. Did Li Xiaotian die by your hands? The white-clothed middle-aged man's eyes suddenly emitted a monstrous hatred. His resentment was extremely deep. Li Xiaotian, less than 10,000 years old, a person with a special constitution and the earth gene. In my plane, he was placed high hopes on him. He was a genius among geniuses, but you killed him. Young man, do you know your crime? The eyes of the middle-aged man in white were about to pop out of their sockets, and he let out a howl as if he had lost his parents. Li Xiaotian? I don't remember. Xiaofan smiled faintly. I've killed too many people. I didn't deliberately try to remember anyone's name. As for Li Xiaotian, he's just a nameless nobody. So what if he's killed? What? The middle-aged man in white didn't expect Xiaofan to say such words. It was tantamount to slapping his face and humiliating him. He was enraged. Good. You've got guts. Then, today, I'll take revenge for Xiaotian. I'll kill you. However, at this moment, Xiaofan also burst out laughing. Ha 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 ha. What a joke. What a joke. A dignified tower master of a plane is actually so despicable. The exploration of the genius zone is based on natural selection. The weak are prey to the strong. It's survival of the fittest and the law of the jungle. Li Xiaotian died in my hands because he was not as skilled as me. If my battle strength was not as good as him, I would also die in his hands. So what if I die without any complaints. Now, you actually say that you want to take revenge for Li Xiaotian. You just want to find an excuse to get some benefits from me. How lame. Then, let's fight. Even if you're a tower master who has opened the heavens, I, Xiaofan, am not afraid of you. Xiaofan's voice was full of vigor. It spread out like a great bell so that everyone standing on the continent could hear it clearly. Today, those who want a share of the loot from me, Xiaofan, come up. Don't come up one by one and waste my time. Come up and kill all of you. Xiaofan roared. He raised his head and raised his feet. It was as if he was the king of the world. His aura was like that of a god descending to the mortal world. At this moment, everyone on the continent was shocked into silence. For a moment, no one rushed up. However, after a few breaths, bastard, you destroyed my plane's strongest swordsman, Jida. You deserve to die. Finally, another pagoda master and a dozen or so elders rushed forward. Come up. Fight to your heart's content. Xiaofan was happy and fearless. To be continued. Chapter 523. After Xiaofan came out of the genius zone, he had indeed encountered many difficulties. Countless experts were like wolves and leopards, wishing they could swallow Xiaofan alive, including his skin and bones. Xiaofan already had a plan in his mind. He stood still and his imposing manner was so powerful that it could topple mountains and overturn seas. He was fearless as he directly declared war against the group of heroes. This scene was like a deity descending to the mortal world. On that motionless land, almost all the elites of the ordinary planes in the universe were gathered. All kinds of tower masters and elders emerged one after another. The leaders of the various planes, who would normally never meet each other, gathered together. It could be said to be an unprecedented grand spectacle. Under such an atmosphere, there was almost no one in the world who dared to challenge the group of heroes to a fight. Even ants could bite an elephant to death. Even if a true immortal descended, he would not directly declare war against the most powerful experts among millions of mortals. However, Xiaofan brazenly declared that anyone who wanted to find trouble with him could swarm him together. He kept saying that he would deal with them all at once. Arrogant. Arrogant to the extreme. All of a sudden, the entire land was filled with buzzing discussions. This seat is convinced by this kid's spirit and bearing. Forget it, this seat will not go and interfere. I can't bear to join hands to kill such a talent. I wish him good luck. With so many people trying to snatch it, this seat will not join in the fun. In the end, I'm afraid there will be no benefits for this seat, bullying the few with numbers and the strong bullying the weak. This seat will not do such a degrading thing, let them fight for it. We will just watch the fun. Everyone in my plane, listen up. Do not participate in this fight or get involved in this whirlpool of disputes. Amidst the countless discussions, many tower masters were convinced by Xiaofan's spirit. They restrained their subordinates and did not participate in the operation to kill Xiaofan. Of course, there were also countless experts who were eager to make a move. This person is so arrogant. He is simply courting death. This seat wants to see what kind of real ability he has. Charge. Surround him. Don't let him escape. Humph. After getting so many benefits, he wants to leave without leaving some behind? I don't want anything else. I just want to seize some celestial stones. How arrogant. If he doesn't possess shocking combat strength, then he's just courting death. This young man's imposing manner isn't bad, but he's still a bit immature. He actually dared to show off in front of us old geezers. He's simply looking down on us. It's time to teach this ignorant fool a lesson. Hong hong hong, experts after experts. They shot up into the sky and surrounded Xiaofan. Not long after, Xiaofan stood in the center, and there were at least tens of thousands of experts around him. Xiaofan was surrounded. They surrounded him in 3 layers, completely airtight. These experts glared at Xiaofan with bloodthirsty eyes, as if they were ready to attack at any time, executing their killing moves. Moreover, there were even more antiques. Even if he were to watch the fire from below, he would still show signs of making a move at any time. Right now, in Xiaohan's sea of consciousness, the mind power star emitting a dark golden luster was slowly revolving in accordance with a kind of heavenly Tao. This caused Xiaofan to be in a calm state of mind. In his entire life, Xiaofan had never been this calm and steady. His life had reached the most classic and most glorious state. The most intense moment. Tens of thousands of experts. Among them, there are many tower masters who have opened their heavenly eyes. Some of them are here because I killed their disciples in the genius zone, and now they're taking this opportunity to seek revenge. Most of them are bandits who see me as a fat pig and want to slaughter and divide me. Good, so many people. I, Xiaofan, will start a massacre today. A powerful battle intent gushed out from Xiaohan's heart. Xiaohan's mind was sharpened by this battle intent. All the distracting thoughts, all the demons, were washed away. This caused Xiaohan's mind to have no flaws at all. It was pure and clean, shining like a beautiful jade, transparent and seamless. The great accomplishment natal saber chi in his sea of consciousness was also getting brighter and brighter. Without a doubt, if Xiaofan could escape unscathed this time, the accumulation of his mind would be unprecedented in the entire mortal world. Then, when Xiaofan went back to break through to the next realm, he would create an extremely terrifying result. Moreover, in this desperate situation where he was forced into a dead end, wisps of evil and bloodthirsty will seep out from the cracks of the demon god's egg in Xiaohan's heart. This extremely evil will actually penetrated through the layers of talismans and seals, even the 10,000 Immortals' great formation, and vaguely reached Xiaohan's brain. Kill. 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 Boundless, monstrous killing intent poured into Xiaohan's sea of consciousness in the most carefree and bloodthirsty way. In a trance, the shadow of the evil demon god appeared in Xiaohan's sea of consciousness. It was the shadow of a heavenly god, with its hands behind its back. Its appearance was not clear, but its aura was unparalleled, as if it could devour the mountains and rivers, control the universe, and be the sole ruler of the universe. It was as if the shadow could crush the sun and the moon with just a casual move. Following the appearance of the shadow, the faint sound of rolling thunder resounded in Xiaohan's sea of consciousness, as if countless laws were brewing, capable of destroying heaven and earth with a single thought. It's the shadow of the demon god. Why is the demon god's egg so excited at a time like this, and even transmitted some of its will to me? Xiaofan was slightly puzzled. Yes, at this moment, the demon god's egg that had been suppressed and silent for a long time in his heart was now beating slightly, as if it was very happy. At this moment, Xiaohan's sea of consciousness received a hazy wisp of will. Mortal, the current situation is very disadvantageous to you, but it doesn't matter. If you open your mind and allow me to transmit a wisp of the original demonic aura into your body, then you will obtain heaven-defying power, and killing immortals will be a piece of cake. What do you think? Open your mind. I'll give you a little bit of power. Just a little bit is enough. Open your mind. Don't worry, I won't hurt you right now. After all, I'm residing in your body. You're like my house. Moreover, whether it's your body or your soul's mental strength, you're the best among mortals. I'm very satisfied with your house. Ha ha ha. Right now, my body hasn't been completed yet, so I still need to use you and definitely won't harm you. I don't want to see you killed by these ants, so I came to save you. Open your mind. Soon, you'll be able to grasp a supreme demonic power that can destroy stars, tear apart true immortals, and have no fear of immortal emperors. As long as you accept this wisp of my original demonic aura, you can kill all the mortals here with a single thought. All of them will be annihilated. This wisp of will actually began to tempt Xiaofan. It's the will of the demon god. At this critical moment, the will of the demon god has actually risen. Xiaofan couldn't help but be shocked. Aside from the last time in the demon metropolis, Xiaofan had clearly felt the will of the demon god. This was the second time. The will this time. It was too clear. It actually wanted Xiaofan to open his mind and allow the wisp of the demon god's power to enter his body. Yes, the demon god is a leviathan above the immortals. It's invincible in the universe, and it reigns supreme in the myriad of worlds. A wisp of its power is definitely enough to annihilate the hundreds of millions of human experts here, leaving none alive. But how can I, Xiaofan, be willing to open my mind? How can I receive the power of the demon god? Isn't that digging my own grave? With a single thought, Xiaofan resolutely severed the temptation of the demon god. Xiaofan's mind was incomparably sturdy, and the demon god was in the process of awakening. Therefore, as long as Xiaofan guarded his mind, the demon god's soul couldn't succeed. Sigh. The wisp of the demon gods will let out a regretful sigh. In the end, it dissipated and sank into Xiaofan's heart, no longer tempting him. Xiaofan's communication with the demon god's soul lasted less than 1,000th of an instant. At this time, Xiaofan gathered his mind and focused his attention on the scene. Essence, qi, and spirit were highly concentrated. The solid mental power star in his sea of consciousness expanded and shrank. Wisps of mental power, like refined steel, were as sharp as the blade of an immortal artifact. With Xiaofan's current soul and mental power, his observation ability had soared by who knew how many times. With a sweep of his eyes, Xiaofan immediately found the weakest spot among the enemies surrounding him. On the east side of the encirclement, most of the pagoda masters and elders aren't very strong. Moreover, none of these enemies will take the initiative to attack first. They roar loudly, but none of them are willing to make the first move. Then, I'll kill them first. I'll kill them all and intimidate them first. Xiaofan's mind was very clear. On the east side. On the east side, the leader was a pagoda master with a gloomy expression. He was a middle-aged man dressed in sharkskin armor. This middle-aged man had his hands clasped behind his back, and behind him was a vast, misty sea. Deep in the sea was a scene of sharks fighting for supremacy. At this time, this middle-aged man was the same as the other pagoda masters and elders surrounding Xiaofan. He wouldn't take the initiative to attack. Instead, he roared and cursed. Stinking brat. At such a young age, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Even if you had some fortuitous encounters, you don't have the capital to be this arrogant. Today, you've fallen into a situation of certain death. This seat will, at this time, die for this daddy. Suddenly, a beam of lightning shot out of Xiaofan's body. His body expanded, and an earthen armor formed. His defense instantly became impregnable. Boom! No one had expected Xiaofan's move. No one had expected that Xiaofan, in an absolutely disadvantageous situation, would launch an explosive attack. In a thousandth of an instant, Xiaofan had already ripped through the air, ignoring the space around him, and arrived in front of the sharkskin-armored middle-aged pagoda master. The pagoda master had never imagined that Xiaofan would use him as a target. He was still cursing Xiaofan to his heart's content. At this time, in his eyes, a fist was enlarging. This fist was filled with an aura as steady as a mountain. However, within the fist's eye, there seemed to be a world of thunder and lightning brewing in the immortal realm. When the fist was unleashed, the roars of ancient beasts echoed in all directions. Absolute power surged out. Before the fist arrived, the lightning had already arrived. Wherever the fist swept across, the entire world turned into a sea of thunder and lightning, a world of thunder and lightning, a heaven of thunder and lightning, the sun and moon of thunder and lightning. The thunder god tyrant body and the starry sky dominator body, the embryonic dual attribute immortal physique, perfectly combined on Xiaofan's body at this moment, erupting with terrifying destructive power. Strands of lightning had already penetrated the skin pores of the sharkskin-armored pagoda master, and even his soul consciousness. For a moment, his reaction was a little slow. It was at this moment, bang! The fist that could shatter a planet struck the pagoda master's flesh and blood. Pft! 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 In an instant, the terrifying sounds of formations shattering, internal organs exploding, and bones shattering erupted from inside the pagoda master's body. Roar! The pagoda master let out an extremely tragic howl. Boundless pain and unwillingness entangled him. The next moment. Boom! The pagoda master's body exploded like quicksand. One punch from Xiaofan had turned him into dust. Chapter 524. Xiaofan's observation was accurate. In this direction, the enemies led by the sharkskin-armored pagoda master had slightly weaker combat strength. The sense of danger that this sharkskin-armored pagoda master gave Xiaofan was far inferior to that of sword cultivator Jida in the Genius Zone. Therefore, Xiaofan was confident that he could kill him in an instant. Xiaofan knew that it was fine if he didn't make a move. Once he made a move, he would have to kill an enemy in a single move. This way, he could create a strong sense of oppression and deterrence. He would be able to slightly stun some of his enemies and pave a bloody path for Xiaofan, giving him a slim chance of survival. Boom! Sure enough, Xiaofan's first move directly blew up the sharkskin-armored pagoda master. In an instant, countless experts standing on the continent let out cries of astonishment. That kid actually attacked first. Not only did he not retreat when facing tens of thousands of powerful enemies, but he actually attacked first. This guy is too savage. He's too ruthless, directly turning the target into dust. It's a special constitution. An extremely exceptional special constitution. This constitution already has a faint trace of an immortal. If this constitution was cultivated to the extreme, it would definitely be an immortal constitution. He really has the capital to be arrogant. Just that blow just now, an ordinary pagoda master is definitely no match for him. Moreover, it's a rare dual attribute special constitution in the universe. Indeed, seeing is believing. I heard that this kid defeated all his opponents in the Genius Zone and obtained the title of #1 genius, but I didn't see his actual combat situation. Just a glimpse just now. He definitely lives up to his reputation. An ordinary pagoda master fighting him head-on is definitely courting death. Junior brother Xiaofan has made a move. In Xiaofan's camp, dozens of people were cowering in a corner, watching the battle with their mouths agape. Xiao Mingqiu let out an excited roar when he saw Xiaofan directly kill an enemy. At this moment, even with Xiao Mingqiu's combat strength, he could not help Xiaofan at all. He was no longer able to help Xiaofan, but in his heart, he still felt the same hatred towards Xiaofan. He wanted to rush forward and fight alongside Xiaofan. As for the pagoda master and the elders, When Yan Qi and the others saw Xiaohan's bravery, their teeth chattered and their eyes were filled with fear. Their throats made gurgling sounds. Pagoda Master, I didn't expect that brat Xiaohan's battle prowess to be so terrifying. In the blink of an eye, he killed a Pagoda Master. That's too terrifying. We can't afford to provoke that brat. An elder beat his chest and stamped his feet. This lord has underestimated him. This lord has truly underestimated him. The Pagoda Master's eyes were filled with disdain. His battle prowess has already surpassed mine. In the future, when we return to the plain, I'm afraid I won't be able to handle him. Xiaohan has already grown. In the future, my prestige will be challenged. He's not even 100 years old. This. The Tower Master's voice was filled with bitterness. Pagoda Lord, you don't have to worry. Yan Qi looked at Xiaohan with a venomous gaze. No matter how strong Xiaohan is, it's impossible for him to break out of the encirclement. He will definitely die here. In the void. After Xiaohan attacked and killed a Pagoda Master. Finally, a portion of the experts that surrounded him from all directions rushed over in a frenzy. However, there was also a portion of experts who instinctively retreated. Xiaohan's preemptive strike was indeed effective. The tens of thousands of experts who had surrounded Xiaohan just now were cursing and swearing. At least now, a portion of them had lost their battle intent and their ferocious flames had been extinguished. Pagoda Master. Bastard, how dare you kill our Pagoda Master? The elders under the Sharkskin Armor Master cried to the heavens and the earth. They rushed towards Xiaohan together, ready to fight to the death. Boom! Xiaohan didn't even glance at them from the corner of his eyes. He only punched out. The fluctuation of energy directly rolled out and tore these elders into pieces, killing them all. Young man, your murderous nature is too heavy. The evil aura in your body can't be dissipated. When it's possible to forgive people, one should forgive them. Sigh, forget it, I'll take you down. An old man in sackcloth silently scuttled to Xiaohan's side. His aura was unfathomable from head to toe. Thousands of divine light, holy light, and all kinds of laws circulated endlessly. He made a grabbing motion with his right hand, and a shining, dark green, flawless giant hand grabbed towards Xiaohan's head. Another Pagoda Master level expert used a divine technique to suppress Xiaohan. Facing the brazen suppression of this Pagoda Master, Xiaohan actually didn't dodge or evade. Instead, he faced it head-on. He stuck out his chest, as if he wanted to use his body to take this blow. How dare you! You overestimate yourself. The Pagoda Master scolded furiously. In this world, there is no mortal who dares to forcefully take a palm strike from me with their flesh and blood. Bang! Shockingly, when this palm landed on Xiaohan's body, it only left a dent on the yellow armor on Xiaohan's body. This is... The Pagoda Master let out a shriek of disbelief. My palm contains all the true energy in my body. It's capable of thousands of transformations and phenomena. It can caress a host of immortals, exterminate all life, and spin the universe. Why can't it break through his defenses? Xiaohan had consumed a large number of immortal pills to refine the embryonic Earth-type Starry Sky Master body. How could it be so easily broken through? The defense of his flesh shell was even stronger than Li Xiaotian's by who knew how many times. Back then, the peerless sword cultivator Jida had tried to kill Xiaohan with the 10,000 swords returned to origin, but he couldn't break through Xiaohan's defenses. Die! Xiaohan's eyes were indifferent as he grabbed the Pagoda Master who had attacked him and grabbed him by the neck with his right hand. No, wait. The Pagoda Master's eyes bulged out. Pfft! Xiaohan didn't hesitate. He squeezed his right hand and the Pagoda Master exploded. In the next moment, Xiaofan grabbed another pagoda master next to him and tore him in half. The pagoda master didn't even get a chance to groan before he was torn in half. Blood and organs sprayed out like a fountain, tearing a pagoda master apart with his bare hands. Xiaofan was like a tiger charging into a flock of sheep. He killed his way through the crowd, punching and kicking as he tore through the pagoda masters and elders. They were blasted into dust. The power of the embryonic dual attribute immortal physique had reached its limit. Xiaofan withstood the attacks of the pagoda masters and elders. His great earth physique defended him. Combined with the invincible golden body, ordinary attacks couldn't break through his defenses. The most they could do was leave a few dents on the surface of his earth-type armor. The bodies of the tower masters and elders exploded like fireworks. Xiaofan seemed to have entered an unstoppable state, crazily slaughtering. He was like a god of the underworld, harvesting lives as easily as picking up grass. As for the tower masters and elders who had surrounded Xiaofan, they were caught off guard. Moreover, they hadn't expected Xiaofan's combat prowess to be so monstrous. Now, they were being slaughtered by Xiaofan. Their fighting spirit, will to fight were losing ground. Their strength was greatly reduced. On that continent, make your move. If we don't, there will be more pagoda masters and elders to die at the hands of this evil creature. Those guys up there are too useless. Not only did they fail to kill a young boy, but they were also slaughtered by him. In every plane in the universe, there are indeed good and bad planes mixed in. There are indeed good and bad planes intermingled. Some planes are just too weak. These weak fellows are really disgraceful. Forget it, the treasures on this young man will be taken. I won't be courteous then. Kill. For a time, more and more powerful tower masters and elders finally couldn't sit still, and they all rushed forward. The terrifying aura, which covered the sky and darkened the earth, crazily swept towards Xiaofan in wave after wave. In the air, Xiaofan's robes fluttered in the strong wind. His eyes were strangely calm, and his mind was completely focused. Every move he made was either to deliver a fatal blow to his opponent or to dodge his opponent's attack. Xiaofan's movements were like those of a peerless powerhouse. Enough! Suddenly, a peerless and invincible voice shook the universe, causing space and time to freeze in that instant. All the pagoda masters and elders surrounding Xiaofan couldn't help but stop and look in the direction of the voice. Oh! Finally, a relatively strong one. Xiaofan's heart trembled slightly. He took the opportunity to adjust his aura and life force and looked in the direction of the voice. In Xiaofan's line of sight, a figure slowly walked towards him under the starry sky. As this figure walked leisurely, a strange phenomenon appeared in the sky. It was as if his physique naturally attracted the radiance of the crescent moon. As he walked, starlight fell and holy light splashed continuously. Every time it splashed, the galaxy would break and stars would fall. The strange phenomenon was colorful and there was a kind of artistic conception of falling sounds. They are much stronger than the tens of thousands of people who besieged me just now. Yes, there are too many experts gathered here. The reason why I was able to kill so many of them was because the true experts were still biding their time and didn't show themselves. Now that the battle has progressed to this stage, those true experts will definitely not be able to endure it any longer. However, no matter who comes, I, Xiaofan, am not afraid. I still have a lot of trump cards that I haven't used. Xiaofan stabilized his body, narrowed his eyes and looked at the newcomer. As for the pagoda masters and elders who surrounded Xiaofan, many of them took the opportunity to escape back to the continent. There were even some people who managed to escape Xiaofan's attack range. They let out long sighs of relief and looked at Xiaofan as if they had just survived a calamity. Too vicious. This child was simply deranged. This boy had already turned into a demon. They had to be eradicated. If it was not eradicated, it would definitely bring disaster to the world. All the true experts, please make your move. At this time, the tens of thousands of people who had surrounded Xiaofan had all fled. Not a single one was left. At this moment, the silhouette under the starlight gradually approached and revealed its true form. It was a man with a jade-like face and dressed like a young man. His eyes were like a king looking down on the world, matchless and unparalleled. There seemed to be a bright eyeball embedded in between his eyebrows, making him look extremely mystical. This person was extremely powerful. Xiaofan could sense the aura emitted from this person's body as deep as the ocean when he focused his mind. Those people just now were just a motley crew. I also understand that the real experts must have appeared later. You also want to covet my treasures? Then, please make your move. After a series of battles, Xiaofan became calmer and calmer. He knew that killing these motley crew would definitely have the effect of striking the mountain and frightening the tiger. At least, many of the experts standing on the continent now had some fear and wouldn't be in a hurry to make their move. Now, I need to kill a few real experts. The effect will be even better. Xiaofan sneered in his heart. Chapter 525. At this moment, there were layers of starlight flickering on the young man's body. His aura was ancient. Although he looked like a young man, his eyes occasionally flashed with the experience of the vicissitudes of life. His real age was definitely over 10,000 years old. Otherwise, with his aura, he would have entered the genius zone just now. Suddenly, the heavenly eye on his forehead suddenly released the image of the Big Dipper. The 7 stars formed a line and unexpectedly formed a star that was 100 times more brilliant and resplendent than the Big Dipper. On this star, there was an immortal spirit with a vast aura and ethereal aura. His body was surrounded by floating stars and he held a starlight battle spear in his hand. As he raised his hand, the spear trembled violently. Rays of light refracted and millions of starlight bloomed like fireworks. Endless starlight seeped out from his heavenly eye and poured on his body, causing his body to shine brightly. He was like a bright and flawless star, displaying the supreme quality of the half-immortal physique. His half-immortal physique had a very strong immortal aura. Although it was also called the half-immortal physique, his immortal physique was many times more condensed than the Tower Master of Xiaohan's plane. Moreover, Xiaofan could faintly feel that this guy in front of him also had a special physique in his bloodline and bone frame gene. Enough, young man. Stop. The man looked at Xiaofan with bemoaning eyes. Not bad. People like you are rare even in the countless ordinary planes of the universe. You're a genius among geniuses. Although you're young, you've already surpassed many pagoda lords and elders who have cultivated for countless years. However, you are still too young. You must know that the universe is vast and there are many capable people. Your battle strength is ultimately limited. Not to mention those true hermits, even among the countless experts present, there are many who can kill you. Young man, don't be too arrogant. There will always be someone stronger than you. Although with my identity, if I were to attack you here, it would be considered as bullying the weak. However, your murderous nature is too strong. Your heart is overflowing with evil intent. I have no choice but to attack you and punish you. Ha 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 ha. Hearing that, Xiaofan shook his head and laughed. It's actually a poser. Interesting, That person's expression changed, and he quickly said. Young man, I've already seen through your trump card. You have a special physique, so your physical body is almost invincible in both offense and defense. However, this move alone is still not enough. After a pause, the man let out a long sigh as if he was extremely pleased with himself. He said slowly, you should know that in this world, young man, you aren't the only one with a lightning and earth element special physique. There are also countless other special physiques of all kinds. I'm also born with a special physique. Boundless starlight physique. For the sake of tempering his boundless starlight physique, he even specially went to the imperial court in the mortal world and became the emperor for 100 years. He observed the rise and fall of the dynasties in the mortal world and experienced the changes in the general situation of the world. Finally, he deduced the boundless starlight physique to an extremely high level. Moreover, not only do I temper my body, but I also cultivate true energy. I'm not talented, but my cultivation base is at the 10th level true energy realm. I opened my heavenly eye and found some starlight celestial chi to temper my body. People call me a half-celestial body. Young man, if you fight with me, you'll definitely die. As the man spoke, countless spear shadows shot out from his heavenly eye. In just a breath's time, the starlight refracted, and the airflow in the surroundings became more and more chaotic. It twisted, crumbled, and collapsed. There were even faint signs of withering, as though the airflow had lost its vitality and was completely withered and destroyed. The man's words were not boasting. It seemed like he was merely stating a powerful fact. Countless heroes on the continent, including the old antiques, were shocked and secretly impressed by the man's words. However, Xiaofan's expression did not change. Instead, he smiled and said, "Tell me, what do you want? Tell me, what do you want?" Ahahaha. Such strong confidence. Even now, you're still so calm when facing me. I don't know if you're really calm, or if you're just putting on an act. The man laughed. A talented young man like you always has a well-thought-out look on your face. It's as though you'll never be defeated, and your luck will continue to flourish. I admire your character. If it weren't for what happened today, I'd still want to be friends with you. How about this? Hand over all the celestial stones and celestial treasures you obtain from the genius zone and let everyone divide them among themselves. Then, I'll step forward and plead on your behalf to let you live. What do you think? Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Xiaofan threw his head back and laughed maniacally, as though he had just heard the most ridiculous joke in the world. What an idiot. I risked my life in the genius zone to obtain a few treasures, yet you're asking me to hand them over? Are you out of your mind? Moreover, someone like you doesn't deserve to be my friend. You're even worse than that motley crew from before. You're an old dog. A piece of trash. What? The man was shocked. Then, he went berserk with rage. Flames of fury shot out from his eyes. Little bastard. Little bastard. What are you talking about? Just now, although those people ganged up on me and wanted to rob me, at least they did it openly. Everyone fought and killed each other without any tricks. As for you, you are sanctimonious and hypocritical. Your words are disgusting. However, I don't care what you're saying. I'll just treat it as bullsh*t. You're just an old dog to me. Xiaofan's words were sharp and sharp, like a spear or a knife. It was almost impossible to scold a peerless expert like this in the mundane world. Xiaofan's actions silenced the countless heroes standing on the continent. Die. Little bastard. Die now. The man's face contorted, finally revealing his ugly face. His previous grace and elegance were tossed beyond the clouds. Starlight burst out of his body. In his third eye, there seemed to be a huge star that was about to appear. His aura rose steadily. As an emperor, as a king, he would rule the world. It was this powerful aura that caused the countless heroes standing on the land to involuntarily move their steps and instinctively take a step back. However, when that person used his ultimate killing technique, circles of pale golden ripples strangely entangled that person's body with a speed as fast as a ghostly flowing light. In the next moment, the pale golden ripples suddenly turned into a mace and smashed down. Before the man could react. Bang! That person's body was actually smashed into pieces by the mace that had appeared out of nowhere. He was torn into pieces. He had a special physique and his defense was indestructible. He didn't expect it to be smashed into pieces. After the golden mace smashed the man to death, it directly turned into rays of golden flowing light and flashed into Xiaofan's brain. Mind power. With a thought, Xiaofan's abnormally powerful mind power instantly locked onto the enemy and turned into a mace to kill him in one blow. It was an instant kill. That person didn't even have time to react. Of course, no matter how he reacted, he couldn't be faster than Xiaofan's mind power. This was the first time Xiaofan had used his mind power to kill an enemy, and the effect was heaven-defying. Last time, he killed Naga because he was already an arrow at the end of its flight. Although Xiaofan had used his mind power to kill him, there was no point in killing him. This time, facing an old antique at his peak who was about to use his ultimate skill, Xiaofan had killed him in one blow. This made Xiaofan feel 100 times more confident. Just as I expected. After solidifying my mind power, killing ordinary mortals is a piece of cake. After that person's corpse completely exploded and scattered, the countless heroes standing on the continent let out horrified howls and cries of disbelief. Such a powerful being with 10th level true chi, a half-immortal body, and a special physique, the infinite starlight body. How could he be killed by that kid before he could even make a move? How could that kid have such an invincible skill? An immortal weapon. That kid must have used an immortal weapon. No, it's more like psychic power, it's like solidified psychic power. No, look closer, he's too arrogant. That kid killed old antiques like us as if we were nothing. If this goes on, how will we, the pagoda masters, the leaders of the various planes, maintain our dignity? Let's ask the truly powerful experts to suppress him. That kid has already been possessed by the devil. In the midst of the chaos, two imposing auras shot up into the sky, one on the left and the other on the right, sandwiching Xiaofan. Gradually, two figures appeared in the air. They were both tall and burly, each emitting the aura of a leader who could control the lives of millions upon millions of people. One was a middle-aged man dressed like a Confucian scholar, who looked like a well-read sage. All of his true chi had condensed into a book, which was filled with the majestic aura of civilization that could enlighten the people of the world. The book sometimes floated in the air, and sometimes was sucked into the heavenly eye between his eyebrows. It was extremely mysterious and profound. The other was a middle-aged man with sideburns who wore a fiery robe. The heavenly eye between his eyebrows was filled with a raging fire that could burn everything, as well as the power of thousands of volcanoes erupting at the same time. The aura of these two people, no matter which one, was not weaker than the expert who was killed by Xiaofan just now. "Young man, why are you so ruthless?" The middle-aged Confucian scholar asked aggressively. "What are you trying to prove by killing people in front of so many people? Prove that you are a genius and no one can defeat you?" The middle-aged Confucian scholar asked aggressively. "I don't want to prove anything. If people don't offend me, I won't offend them. If people offend me, I'll kill them all. What are you trying to do? Don't say that I'm heartless. I'll give you the time of 3 breaths to get lost. Otherwise, you'll die all the same." Xiaofan was not afraid at all. Roar. "Kid, you're too arrogant. Only with old antiques like us will the world be stable. Only then will the demon race of every plane be restrained. You actually killed him just like that, not giving us any face at all." The bearded middle-aged man in the flame robe roared angrily, his hair standing on end. "I give you face? Then who gives me face? What do you mean by giving you face? I'll obediently hand over the treasure and let you kill me. That's giving you face? Ridiculous. There's no need to say more. Come at me together." Xiaofan laughed coldly. His eyes became incomparably cold, as if he wanted to destroy the world, sweep away everything, and kill all living things as easily as flicking dust. "Come at me one by one, but none of you are a match for me. A bunch of useless chickens and pottery dogs. Come at me together, I'll finish you all at once." His tone was too arrogant. But strangely, the more arrogant Xiaofan acted, the more fearful the demon warriors standing on the continent seemed to be, and the more they did not dare to rush up to kill him. On the contrary, if Xiaofan kept giving in and retreating, there would be more and more experts who would find trouble with Xiaofan and kill him. Looking at the silent scene, Xiaofan knew that he had made the right bet. His arrogance had shocked most of the people who wanted a share of the loot. At this moment, the middle-aged Confucian scholar and the bearded man in the flame robe finally could not hold it in anymore. Their bodies were filled with killing intent, and they each took out a natal Dharma treasure. The middle-aged Confucian scholar's Dharma treasure was a wordless book. The Dharma treasure of the bearded man in the flame robe turned out to be a flaming mountain. The two peerless experts were about to attack Xiaofan together. However, boom, a huge golden fishing net appeared out of nowhere and suddenly enveloped the two of them. In the blink of an eye, the fishing net passed through the two of them. Puff! 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 Suddenly, the bodies of the two peerless powerhouses were sliced into countless pieces. Tens of thousands of them were dead, and they could not be more dead. Their physical bodies were destroyed, and the natal Dharma treasures that they had condensed directly collapsed, turning into streams of pure true qi, shooting wildly in all directions. It was a spectacular scene. Is there anyone else who wants to court death? Xiaofan stood proudly, and his eyes swept across the scene. Yes. That's right. Today, I'm going to sweep away everything. All those who want to benefit from me, I'll kill them all. To be continued.